All right, okay. Let's go ahead and go live. Epic. All right, so we're 2 minutes early. It's okay. It's not like anybody will care. It'll be fine. So I'll go ahead and just give, some time for people to pop in because I scheduled this stream 5 minutes before it started. So yeah. Um, Again, before we do too much here, if this is your first time watching me, my name's Tyler. I go by Zany online, and my eye, I know it's all screwed up. It's okay. I didn't get beat up or anything. I just had a contact problem that led to an infection, which is fantastic. So, in exactly 37 minutes, I'm going to have to go put eye drops in my eye. So, that's going to be fun. But I assume if you clicked on this video, you want a complete guide to tiling window managers, and that is exactly what you're going to get here. I'm going to explain what a tiling manager is, the mindset behind it, why people use it, so on and so forth. Or not it, but them, because again, let's explain what a tiling window manager is. If you're unfamiliar with tiling window managers, let me explain it. So, a tiling window manager is, well, a window manager that tiles. Um, what's a window manager? Great. So if you're used to using something like Windows, um, to explain what a window manager is, I also need to explain a desktop environment. So when you go into Windows, the desktop that you see when you get on your home screen, that desktop is a window manager with a combination of many other things. And that is classified as a desktop environment. A desktop environment is the group of programs that make up your desktop environment. Like, say, the program that sets your wallpaper. On Linux, the two big popular ones are FEH, so FA, or however you want to pronounce that, and Nitrogen. Both of those are used to set wallpapers. You're probably going to have your window manager. That might be something like Awesome WM, i3, Qtile, Rat Poison. It could be anything. There are tons of them. And that's what the window manager is, actually what manages your windows popping up on your screen. They manage how it's going to look. So you have in Windows, you have your window manager, and I will go ahead and say this, a lot of window managers do also come with panels. So like in Windows, the window manager there probably also is the same application that shows the panel and has the like start menu on it and all of that. It's probably all bundled in as one package, one window manager, you could say. On Linux, you have things like Awesome WM is a good example. It comes with a panel with a start menu and all this shiznit in it. So you can have a panel built into your window manager. Things like the tiling window manager I'm using right now, Rat Poison, it does not have a panel coming with it. It is just managing my windows, just showing the windows themselves. So a tiling window manager, unlike most window managers that are in desktop environments that you might be used to, they are the ones that you're used to in desktop environments are what's called floating window managers. So they probably have a default size for most programs, and then if the program sets its own size, like tries to take up the full width of the screen, like a good example of a program like that would be like Blender. When you open up Blender on any floating window manager, Blender's going to try and take up the entire screen unless you've set it to do something else. Good example. Um, Floating window managers are going to load up however they have set up, and then you're going to drag around and put them wherever you want on your screen. A tiling window manager is not like that. You're going to have, essentially, you're going to have two options when it comes to tiling window managers, automatic and manual. And the manual tiler is a little different, but before we jump into that, so I've told you what a tiling window manager is, sort of. And by saying that, I mean, I've told you what tiling window manager is not. It's not a floating window manager where shit's just going to open up on your screen and you're going to move it around. A tiling window manager tries to use up the maximum amount of your screen real estate at all times. So let me go back here to my handy dandy whiteboard. And again, I know if you're watching this on phone, it's going to be pretty small, but don't worry. I will also, well, I'll also be explaining and telling you what I'm drawing / writing. So it's not really like seeing this as necessary. It's just here for visual aid for people who are like me and want to visually see stuff. So if you're watching this on a phone, I understand it's going to be super tiny. Don't try and kill your eyes, you know, seeing it. So essentially, I'm just going to draw a big, or excuse me, I'm going to go over here. So I'm going to draw a big rectangle, and this will be the representation of your monitor. Now, again, you can have multiple monitors, stuff like that. We can get more advanced later, but it doesn't really matter for right now. So you have your screen here. Let's say we're starting off here. You don't have anything open. Let's say you're using something like i3 or Awesome WM. So you have a panel up here at the top of your screen. So you got a panel at the top. Cool beans. Who cares? Maybe it's showing you the time, date, stuff. Has sys tray on it for, you know, things that have open in the background to show you that they're running, stuff like that. Whatever. When you open up a program on a tiling window manager, it's going to take up the entire space of your screen. It's not going to cover up the panel. You can, on every tiling window manager, you can set up stuff where the panel will disappear or something like that. You can do all those fancy things on most window managers as well, but who cares? For this example, it doesn't really matter. You're gonna have a program open up. It's gonna take up the full amount of your screen. It's just gonna be plopped up on the full amount of your screen. And if you have something like a manual tiler, like something like i3, down here and over here, so we'll call this side over here vertical, because again, vertical, and I'll just write an H right here. So this is horizontal. So on a manual tiler, again, almost all, well, not again, just so you know, almost every window manager, most of them that tile are keyboard driven, which means you're going to be doing most of the stuff through keyboard shortcuts and stuff like that. A Terminal for Life, how you doing, man? Hope you're doing good. Oh, I totally forgot. I don't think I have it set up where chat is ultra low latency. So if it takes me a little bit to respond, sorry about that. I forgot to press that button. Hopefully it's not too bad, but hell, I'm not insanely late. That's first. Same, I'm always really late to streams. So when it comes to window managers, they're almost always keyboard driven. So you're going to be using keyboard shortcuts to do stuff on your window manager. Okay, so for a manual tiler, again, you've got your horizontal down here and vertical. You're going to use a keyboard shortcut, and you'll get on most of them, like you can change the styling and stuff, but you'll get sort of like a line on one side of the screen, whichever one that you've decided that you're going to, put a new window on. And it'll like highlight that side of the screen, and then you'll use another keyboard shortcut or just whatever, however you're going to open up another program. You open that program up, and what it's going to do is it's going to split your screen in half whichever way that you open that new program on. So let's say you had the little highlight thing down here at the bottom of your screen. Again, for those who have just now popped in, don't worry. I know the whiteboard is like super tiny. So again, if you're watching on a phone, it's okay. I'm explaining everything. You don't really need to see it. It's just there because I like whiteboards, and yeah, again, I don't have a super nice camera, so this whiteboard and the marker are not super thick. It's okay. How's the peeper? Peeper's doing better. Thank you for asking, man. It still looks all types of messed up, but it's not as light sensitive, and it's not nearly as painful, so that's great. But yeah, so you're going to highlight a side of the screen. It's going to cut the screen in half. So if you had it horizontal here, you open up a new program. The first program up here is going to get cut in half, and then the program that you just opened is going to be on Hold on. Whew. Oh, sorry about that. I knew it was coming. I cannot tell y'all how amazing that was because I've had that happen like all day today and it just been where I couldn't sneeze. That was amazing. Oh, that sneeze has been waiting for so long. But okay, so that's how it's going to work. Now let's say you want to open up another program. If you were to keep highlighting down here and open up another program, it's going to split this into three. So you're going to have a whole bunch of horizontal programs, which I don't think anyone splits their screen horizontally more than two times, but I mean, you could be crazy. Let's say you do the keyboard shortcut, you highlight this side of the screen. Well, then program two here. Oh, hold on. I gotta get an eraser on here. Okay, so program two here is gonna get. Oh my God, keep my whiteboard nice. Is gonna go over here, and the third program goes here. So, essentially, your screen real estate is always being used up, and also you always know where the next program you open up is going to go. So that's a manual tile. Now, when it comes to manually tiling, a lot of people don't really like it because it's not nearly as efficient as an automatic tiler. Also, BTW, you're really quiet when you're by the whiteboard. Damn, okay. Hold on. I will be prepared for this because I'm going to turn up the gain on this microphone. All right, so I just bumped up the gain. Let me know if it's better or like I don't know, maybe where I am now it'll be too loud. Um, uh, Gesundheit, thank you. Manual tiles have always been too much effort for me. Tried i3, but just couldn't live with it. Yep, I get you. Again, most people, tiny window managers don't really stick around for that long because, again, they're not as efficient. So, an automatic tiler, how an automatic tiler is going to work, let me just get rid of this shiznit right here and on the whiteboard. Okay. So now for a automatic tiler, the way an automatic tiler is going to work is essentially you already have a pre-planned layout. You can choose from them, but the most typical one that almost everyone uses is what's called the master and slave stack. Layout that a lot of places call it like monad tall or I mean it can be a lot of different things, but who cares? It's normally just a master and slave stack. And so how this works, again, same thing as on the manual tiler. The first program you open up, it's going to take up the full screen. It's going to take up the whole full screen. The second program you open up, it's going to push the first window over here, and that one's going to be called your master stack. And then the second program is going to go over here. Okay? Now, you open up another program. Then, what's going to happen is you're going to split the screen in half over here. 2 goes up here. Oh, okay, if I don't keep messing with my marker. And 3 is going to go down here. So, that's how an automatic tiler is going to work. And then when you open up another program, these 2 get pushed up and the next program comes down there. Yeah, that's pretty much how it works. It's not super complicated and pretty easy to understand. And the reason it's called master and slave is because, well, this window over here, your first one, you can move windows between each other and, do all that sort of managing and stuff like that. But that master window right there is always going to take up half of your screen. You can change how much of the screen is going to take up and stuff, but by default, it's going to take up half the screen, and then the rest of your programs are going to go over to a slave stack. So that's how window managers work. Again, there are differences between them because, again, this is Linux and FOSS software where there's duplication of effort, but that duplication of effort does mean that there's a whole bunch of different options for, your specific wants out of a window manager. So again, as much as people complain about duplication and effort in Linux, it's not always a bad thing. It can be quite good for diversity in the ecosystem. While it's audible, just quiet. My, I just don't want to crank the gain on it and have it be insane. Um, I'm all about manual tiling. It's just reflexive for me. And see, I'm using rat poison right now, and that's more of a it's essentially a manual tiler. It's just different than most tiling window managers. Um, uh, the reflection on the whiteboard makes it hard to see. Damn, man, like this whiteboard, like I really like this whiteboard, but the whiteboard has just been more of a pain than anything else. Because I mean it is reflective, but there's no way for me to get around it because I mean I need lights on the area, and I really wanted this whiteboard to be a lot better than it is, but there is a ton of reflections. Hold on, I'm gonna try something. Go here. Okay, so I closed the window and bumped up this light, so maybe that'll be better. Um, I prefer a good layout and use that. Uh-huh. Yeah, I really like DWM. So don't worry, guys. You're being that's not really to me being negative. Being negative would just be like being very rude or something. That is constructive criticism. So hopefully this creates less of a reflection. Maybe who knows? Um, but yeah, so we've got manual tilers and uh, get that erased. All right, so we've got manual tilers, automatic tiling sort of explained. Now, I'm not going to be jumping onto my computer and showing you how they work and stuff like that because, again, for that, just take my advice. If you want to learn exactly how a tiling window manager works, it varies from window manager to window manager, what the default key bindings are, um, whether it comes with a panel out of the box or anything like that. So for that, I would recommend going to the specific tiling window manager that you want to try out first, going to a video about that one and seeing how it's explained. DistroTube has videos on them. I've done some of them. As far as I know, Terminal for Life, I don't know. He probably has one on his channel. Almost everyone has a video talking about this specific tiling window manager that they use and how it works. Just, I recommend going to the specific one that you want to try out and seeing that. Now, why would you want to use a tiling window manager? That's always a good question. Uh, Man, I don't know why, but like ever since this eye has been all messed up, I've like been belched like crazy. Um, oh, thank you, dude. I think the whiteboard idea is pretty cool too. Okay, so it is a little better. Perfect. So why would you want to use a tiling window manager? That's a good question, and the answer is also um, pretty simple. Tiling window managers are, for one, hyper customizable. You can go to Unix porn and see all the crazy things that people do with their tiling window managers. But for one, tiling window managers make your computer very unique, and also setting up everything with a config file is very lightweight. It makes you feel like you know your computer more. Um, even though you're really not doing like some advanced programming or anything, you know exactly how the because you've dived into the configuration file and you've configured it yourself, you just feel that much more um, involved with your tiling window manager. Now, on top of, you know, customizing it to, hello, I 100% thought I put on Do Not Disturb. Did not. Okay, offer up, just trying to get me to do something. Fantastic. Anyway, when it comes to using a tiling window manager, it's also very lightweight. it's compared to a desktop environment, because your tiling window manager is just that, just managing your windows, and at most giving you a panel, or excuse me, a bar at the top. I mean, panel is accurate, but if you're a new user, it might be a little confusing. The bar at the top, that's at most what else you're getting. If you want a notification system, you're probably going to be using something like Dunst or another notification system for Linux. If a lot of window managers don't even come with a sys tray, so if you want something like that, you're going to be adding it in yourself. Again, a lot of window managers don't even come with a panel, so if you're going to want that, you're going to get that program yourself. So by the end of the day, when you're using a tiling window manager, if you want all of those things going on, you've essentially created your own custom desktop environment, which is awesome. And also, your desktop environment will be 30,000 times lighter than something like KDE or GNOME, unless you decide to use a tiling window manager and install all of the GNOME programs with it, which I don't know why you would do that. But hey, this is Linux, you can do whatever you want. So that's why you would use a tiling window manager. It's lightweight. It's it's highly customizable. It's also, I haven't even touched on the bigger part. I totally forgot about this. The bigger part, functionality wise, it's really, really easy and fast to use. It's very productive. It's very effective. You don't have hidden windows anywhere. And another thing about tiling window managers is most of them. Now I'm using Rat Poison right now, and Rat Poison is by far the most unique tiling window manager I've found. By me saying that, if you're someone who's watching this completely new to tiling window managers, again, I wouldn't recommend trying Rat Poison as your first. Just saying. Okay, so a lot of tiling window managers also emphasize the use of workspaces. So because all of your programs are meant to be open on your screen and using up your real estate at all times, most of them have, like, let's say you've got this bar up here, you're going to have all of these, like, with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You're going to have a whole bunch of workspaces over the top, and you're going to switch between them. So, like, let's say on workspace 1, we've just got browser open on workspace 1, then we pop over to 2, and we've got, instead of a browser open, we've got like email and Discord or something open on there. You switch over, and all you have to do is use key bindings to pop between them, and all of your programs are using up exactly how much screen real estate, in your opinion, they should be using up. Because something for me, like a browser, I want it to be taking up the full screen, but I also want to be able to switch between my browser and everything super fast. If I'm going to have everything open, that I'm using at a time, I want to be able to switch between them very fast. And the thing about tiling window managers is you're not moving that mouse all up and down your freaking screen all the time trying to press shit like this. It's not how you're supposed to use it. That's dumb, okay? Like it's not like it's dumb. It's just it's inefficient. Pressing 2 or 3 keys is much faster than moving your mouse from the back button on Firefox all the way down to the taskbar and pressing something. It's much faster. Okay, cool. So Terminal for Life does have some i3 videos. But it's not like i3 changes vastly. So why? Because it increases your IQ. I mean, I don't know about that, but it does also teach you a lot about, like, I mean, like, let's be honest, most of us, the way that we got into configuration files and stuff like that is through window managers. Those are a very visual way of seeing what your changes in a config do. And it's also just really fun. Just let's be honest. Using a tiling window manager is very fun. So I've explained why you might use it. I've explained tiling window managers. Now let's talk about the mindset behind the people who use tiling window managers. So For those of you in this chat, I'm pretty sure we've got plenty of people in here who do use tiling window managers. And if you do use a tiling window manager, let me know your mindset behind why you use it and what truly makes it better than a floating window manager. Oh, I know you were joking. I recommend to beginners, or I recommend i3 to tiling window manager beginners. Me too. The caveat to that is I also recommend, like, if so I recommend i3. However, if you're someone who already knows Python and you're like either a Python developer or you want to start learning about Python, Qtile is even better. Oh, great. Someone just rang the doorbell and now every dog in the house is going to go absolutely ape shit. Fantastic. Um, it's incredibly efficient. That's true. That's true. Using a tiling window manager is insanely efficient. Doing everything that you want to with your system is, extremely fast. Oh my god, so many dogs going ape shit right now. And that, I mean, if you hear that loud bark, that's Buddy. It was probably like the UPS man. It was probably like someone not even who needed to ring the doorbell. This stream has turned into a, like, I wanted it to be like a very like efficient breakdown that would be really good for rewatching later, but I don't know that it's going to turn into that. Oh yeah, Qtile sounds perfect. Yes, yeah, because Qtile is very simple. It's sort of like i3. It comes very, it makes a lot of sense out of the gate. It's very new user friendly. However, it's just if you're using i3 and you want to be interested or you're already interested in Python, it doesn't make that much sense. Try Qtile because that's straight up Python. You're going to enjoy it, and if you're trying to learn Python, that's a really good way of doing it. It's fast, lightweight, customizable to the point where I can change the source how I like it, and it doesn't come with bloatware pre-installed. Truth, like it. You stay on the home row too, so tiling window managers are perfect for people who type a lot. That is true. Matt, who is somebody who types for a living, that's one of his main arguments for using tiling window managers is, and also I will say this too, for me personally, before getting into using tiling window managers, I was not that, it's not like I was bad at typing, but I wasn't typing as efficiently as I am now, because through tiling window managers, I've learned, how efficient using a keyboard properly can be and why it might be worth it to, even though I'm not typing professionally, do typing, classes, or not classes, but, the practicing online, getting better at it. It makes you a lot more efficient. Also, tiling window managers, for those of you who are watching this afterwards or watching now and you're completely unfamiliar with why it could make you using your computer more efficient, when you can know how every program's going to open, and you can open programs and close them lightning fast without even having to touch your mouse, you'd be surprised just how much on your computer you can do without using a mouse. And once you start doing it, you'll realize just how stupid it was that you were doing so much with a mouse. Also, too, tiling window managers also incentivize you getting used to doing a lot of stuff in the terminal. And let's be honest, if you're afraid of the terminal and you're watching this, don't be. Just don't be. It's it's not that scary. It's pretty awesome. The terminal is, sure, you could blow shit up in the terminal, but that being said, the odds of you doing that are really low. Really low. Take it from somebody. I mean, I'm pretty sure everyone in this chat at one time was very much a newcomer to the terminal, and I think all of us can say the amount of times that we have completely borked a system because we did something wrong in the terminal. If it's happened to you, it's been very, like, once. Like, I've never completely destroyed my computer by typing in the wrong command. I've been confused because I did something wrong and didn't know like where in the world I was at in the like list of commands I'm supposed to be doing, following a guide, something like that. Like, yeah, I've gotten lost and a little confused, but no, you'll be fine. The terminal's not scary. And you'll also be amazed at how much faster you can get stuff done inside of the terminal. Um, uh, TBF, I can write Perl configurations for i3. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I don't. Yeah, so yeah, well, I know you can. I know you can extend Python or extend your Qtile config quite a bit with Python. I'm not sure about that in specific. Best of both worlds combine DE with TW. Oh yeah, Bajorn. I mean, you can do both. I mean, you can combine, like you can download KDE and then use a window manager with all the KDE applications. Comes with a lot of bloat, but you can do it, and also it's to be honest, that's like a perfect middle ground. Um, to me, I mean, I wouldn't do it personally, but that's because I'm more of a minimalist anyway. I like my system being simple. Um, for me, how I use my system is set up to be very small. Um, Hello, in this definitive guide also includes Stump WM. Well, so in this definitive guide, the reason it's a definitive guide is because it just, so I've gone over what tiling window managers are, how they're used, how they work, why people use them, the mindset behind people using them. And I'm not going to go into a guide specifically on one tiling window manager showing you how it works, because that can't be in the definitive guide for tiling window managers, because that's more of a guide on which tiling manager you choose. So when it comes down to it, this definitive guide will end with, hey, so if you're interested in tiling window managers, perfect. Find one that fits what your criteria for what you want for your first tiling window manager tryout, and try it. We've already said i3 is perfect for beginners because it does come with a panel and the configuration file is easy. If you want to try something, if you're more interested in Python, you're already a Python developer, or you want to learn Python, try Qtile. It's a fantastic tiling window manager. It also comes with a panel, all that good stuff, and it's easy to config. Again, it's still easy to config even if you don't know Python, but it's still better for somebody who's interested in Python. Like, even though it's still easy to config, like you wouldn't use Qtile, in my opinion. If you want a simple to set up, tiling window manager, you probably wouldn't choose Qtile just because it's simple. You would choose it because it's simple and uses Python. Okay, that's a good comment. I really like that comment, Peter. I really like it. I don't know what my criteria is. That's perfect. Well, your criteria for your window manager is this. You have to ask yourself, what do I need or want out of my system? For me, the reason I'm sticking with rat poison is I don't need a panel. I don't really need a panel. The reason I wanted a panel and the reason I was complaining about DWM is because it does have a panel. It does have workspaces and everything, which is, for me, is nice. Rat Poison works in a different way, so now I don't really even think I need workspaces the way it works. I could dive into that, but I have a whole other live stream that we did talking about Rat Poison, so you can go over there and watch that if you want. But I don't really need a panel because on Rat Poison I can press a key combination and get it to show me the time and time, date, and all of that information just with one click. So I don't really need a panel ever. But you have to ask yourself: do you need a sys tray? Do you want or need a panel? Another good question would be: do you want a manual tiler or do you want an automatic tiler? Do you want to manually press key combinations and manually choose, where your windows are going to go on your screen. If you don't, and you just want to be able to have a layout that's predefined and you're just always going to know where a window is going to spawn, you don't have to choose it or anything like that, you want to go with an automatic tiler. As soon as you have your criteria down, just find, and again, when I say find, just Google a few times, like Google simple tiling window managers or beginner friendly tiling window managers, and find one that meets those criteria for you. And again, if you don't know what you need, just, to be honest, try 3. If you don't know what you need and you're not interested in Python, or you're not a developer or anything like that, you have no interest whatsoever, try 3. It's got a super simple config, and you'll know after using i3 what your criteria, what you need to change about your criteria, or what your criteria should be. Maybe to figure out your criteria, you just need to explore the window managers out there to decide what you need and want. I'll get back to that comment because that is an interesting comment. Okay, I'll watch out. Okay, I'll watch out Rat Poison stream. Sounds interesting. I think I could learn a lot. Peter, I'm pretty sure you were in that live stream. Were you not? Like, I'm pretty sure that's sarcasm. I'm pretty sure you were there. That is very true. I was like cracked out on caffeine during that live stream, and I was also excited because that was like the first real live stream where I was getting to show off this whole new area. Oh, definitely being that Peter, no, no. Ugh, ugh. Oh, you're lucky I didn't even read the last sentence. I need to have my MS Edge full screen. Just Peter. Grody. Ew. Get out. Gross. Okay, so to go back to Terminal for Life's comment of maybe to figure out your criteria, you just need to explore the window managers out there to decide what you need. What I would disagree with that is I don't think you need to go out and try window managers. I think you need to do some searching, and I think if instead of trying, like you did say explore, but just to elaborate on explore here, I don't think trying is a good way of exploring new window managers. I think by exploring, the best way you're going to find your criteria that way is by watching YouTube videos on different tiling window managers. Again, after you've done some Google searches and you've found some beginner friendly tiling window managers, watch some YouTube videos of people configuring them, or explaining how they work and stuff, because those are going to be tiling window managers are not like your typical programs that you're used to, like where you're like, oh, this looks nifty, and you download it and run it. A tiling window manager, for somebody who is brand new to them, let's say you download something like Qtile. Oh, that is my alarm for me needing to do my eye drops. So I need to go do those eye drops, but I'll finish explaining this and then I will be right back. Again, brief intermission. I'll turn on some music or something. I don't know. I'll play something, but I need to go put in some eye drops. That'll take about 3-4 minutes. Because I gotta wait a couple minutes in between putting them in. But anyway, so when it comes to a tiling window manager, just watch some videos on them, find the information, or find people configuring them, and based off of that information and how you feel on it, try it out. If you install a tiling window manager just like a regular program, nifty, download it, run it, you could be left with a tiling window manager that you don't know the key bindings to. You might not even have, like a lot of them have gotten better now where they will automatically figure out which terminal that you have installed, but a lot of them have predefined terminals. So if you're not using the terminal emulator that one config is set up to use, it might not work. Also, if you just run it, you probably don't know the key binding to quit it. So yeah, luckily things like Rat Poison, they do have a key binding that shows you all of the keyboard shortcuts. But again, if you're a complete new user, you haven't read up or watched any videos about it, and you just, hey, that's nifty, it sounds neat, it sounds like it meets my criteria, and run it, you might have a bad time. But again, we live in a day and age where people don't read or educate themselves about something before trying it out at all, and then want to blame the product because it wasn't set up for them right out of the gate. Which again, we're talking about something here that it's very customizable, and you should be setting up out of the gate. Good point. Watch first, and if it piques your interest, try it out yourself. Yep. Exploring is not recommended it's not recommended anymore. It's obsolete. Edging is the new way. Oh, gross. I like it. It has connotations. Uh, uh, uh. Oh yeah. Yes, you could use VirtualBox to explore, but see again here, this is supposed to be the definitive guide for tiling window managers, and even though we are comfortable with using stuff like VirtualBox and stuff like that, most new users, VirtualBox, installing an OS in a virtual machine, then trying out a tiling window, like we're getting to levels of complexity here that are just for new users, most likely out of their range. Like, sure, they can get it done. I'm not trying to be insulting here. If you're a new user and you're like, hey, I know how to use VirtualBox, like, I understand that. But just for the everyday average Joe Schmo who sees this video, it's probably not a good idea to be like, hey, you should use VirtualBox, then, install Ubuntu in there, then install your tiling window manager, then you need to log out and then choose the tiling window manager, log back in. Like, it's a little bit much. A little bit much. But yes, that is a good recommendation. Just I don't know to brand new users, not all of them. But hey, if you're watching this and you know how to use VirtualBox, yeah, that's a great recommendation. Instead of watching videos on them, you can definitely dive straight in yourself. Load up the documentation on one side, open up a window, drag it in your floating window manager to the other side, have it take that up half the screen and open up. Oh God, my eyes. Okay, so I'm gonna go put my eye drops in because my eyes are already being like, hey, you bitch, I need more. So again, I'm gonna go, but I'm going to mute my microphone and open up CMOS, and I'll play just some string beats. So let's see. Oh wait, hold on. Let me go over here to OBS. I forgot. I probably want to turn down my desktop volume so it's not like blisteringly loud. Hopefully that's not too bad. And let me start that up and mute my microphone. I will see you guys here. Again, this will just be a 3-4 minute break. Yeah, just watch this beautiful wall behind me and the beautiful whiteboard. Okay. All right. Sorry about that brief intermission there, but I had to go put my eye drops in. Um, all right, let's see. I'm just trying to get caught up on this. So, yes, and you can use most window managers. Yeah. You're on X11. Oh, so that is a good thing. If you're using Wayland, you're probably not going to be using most tiling window managers. You're probably just going to be using something like Slay. But if you're a new user and you just heard me say that and you're like, what? Don't worry, it's not relevant to you. The odds that you're using Wayland are like 1 in 1,000,000. Uh, yeah, just so you know, if you're using something like Fedora, well, actually now new Ubuntu and all that shit's using Wayland. Who cares? Not gonna go diving into that. A whole other topic. Uh, uh, if I was a noob back in the day and I had no issues with VirtualBox, I mean, you do have a good point. Like, you were fine with VirtualBox, but that doesn't mean everyone is. Like, let's be honest, VirtualBox can be a little bit of a bitch, you know? It just can be. Not saying that it's hard to use or anything, it's just, it can be finicky. Normally it's not, but can be. Um, yeah, mute so we can hear your screams. Uh, it does. The second one actually that I have to put in does actually sting quite a bit. But actually, while I was out there, like my mom was grabbing what was I think it was a cantaloupe. Like she was grabbing a cantaloupe, and she was like, "You want some?" I was like, "No, but that's cantaloupe, right?" She's like, "Yeah," and I was like, "Oh, the food of every Karen in the world." And she goes, "Uh-huh," and then walks away, and then she turns around, she's like, "Wait, the hell you say?" At first, she thought I said carrots or something. She was confused. But I like the fact that she smiled and said, "Uh-huh," and walked away. I was like, "Okay, okay, Karen." I'm messing around with some power chord plugins. Recently got into JS scripting. Okay. Will the new version of i3 be called i4? Oh, interesting question. Um, doubt it. Uh, yeah. Uh, that would be interesting though if they rolled out like a major update to i3 and they just renamed it i4. They probably would never do that because that would like ruin their discoverability online. But um, thank you. I'm glad to be back. Yeah, I wish I was into Node.js. Well, not I wish, but it's always seemed a little interesting. Never gotten into it. Wayland is only used when supported. There is still Xorg installed as a backup. Yes, and that's why I'm like I'm not going to dive into that because even if you're using a Wayland distribution like that uses Wayland out of the get go, a lot of the times your system most likely doesn't support Wayland. Um, and well, even if it supports Wayland, most people, if you're doing something a little bit more complex, you're going to be customizing things. You're probably just going to start using Xorg after a few minutes. And again, it's a whole nother topic. We're not even going to dive into that. Darn. So we're not getting an i4 release. Poopy. I was so looking forward to that. Okay, so yeah. Um for those of you in chat, here's a good question. For a new user, try and think of like back in the day, you're a new user. What's a question that you would have even after I've explained tiling window managers? Like, what's a good question that you would have for me? Oh, dang, Peter, that's a good point. That is a really good point. i4 is a much better name. Not sharing search results with Intel CPUs. That is a very good point. Now, this eye is starting to get a little irritated, so I'm just gonna puff on this here Delta 8 card. So again, the question was, as a new user, what's a valuable question that you would have for someone who has used a tiling window manager for a long time? Okay. Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good question. How do I remember all of these key bindings? That is a really good question. So, on almost every tiling window manager, you have your default. All right, hold on. I'm gonna have to turn down this light. So it is way too freaking bright. Okay, that's a little better. It's a little better. Hopefully, it's not super dark in here, so you can't see anything. I'm gonna erase this, even though I'm not really gonna be doing anything with it. I'm just gonna go ahead and erase it. Okay, so how do you remember all of the key bindings? That's such a good question. Um, when you come into a new tiling window manager, any window manager, they're going to have the defaults. But essentially, in every single window manager, you're going to change almost all of the key bindings for your regular stuff, like opening up your application launcher. Like for me, inside of my tiling window manager, let me cycle through my windows here and see what I've got open. Okay, well, I've got CMOS open right here, so I'll just go ahead and go into OBS and switch over to my scene view and switch over CMOS. Okay, so here inside of rat poison here, if I hold the Windows button, Shift and Enter, I get this is a D menu at the top of my screen up here. This is my run launcher. It's what I use to open programs and stuff like that. Again, there's a inside of rat poison, like a lot of people use like mod P or something like that. Like I don't even know if there was a default for a run launcher in rat poison, or actually no, I know there's not, because you have to make your rat poison RC for, or your config file for rat poison from scratch. So there's not. There's default key bindings for different stuff that you're probably not going to change and that you're going to learn inside of every tiling window manager. Like for rat poison here, mod Shift S is going to cut the screen in half, and I'm going to get another screen over here, and all of the applications that I have open are viewable inside of each screen or window here. Most tiling window managers don't work this way. You have applications that are essentially windows. Here it's not like that. And then I can switch between them using mod and then the arrow key. And you see that current frame pop up. I can mod and then Shift R, Shift E, mod Shift R, and that's going to remove that screen and get rid of it. How you remember stuff like this is actually really simple, because you're going to be using them so much that you're going to learn the ones that you don't change, and the ones that you don't change, even in learning them after a little bit, you might still change them because you're like, well, I mean, I know of a key binding that seems much more natural for me, and your key bindings will change. Like you will learn some that make sense to you and keep them, and then you don't really have to remember them because you're going to be using them so often. Everything that you do inside of a tiling window manager, you're going to be doing so often that it really doesn't matter. Like you're always going to be, um, you know, you're always going to be using them, so you don't really have to remember them. Um, let's see. And also the ones that don't really make sense to you, you're not going to keep. They're going to change to something that does make sense to you. Um, uh, how do window managers tell X where to put the windows? Um, as far as I know, that can differ from quest or from like how window managers function and tell X where windows are going. can change from window manager to window manager? It is a good question. To be honest, to exactly answer that question, I'm not sure. All I know is that every window manager has has different default layouts, and then some are manual, so you're going to be manually um, pulling up windows. My question was, but that was pre-internet era for me. Why so many not usable window managers when there's KDE and GNOME? But again, this was back in those days when XFC was in version 3. Oh, well, to be honest, that is a good question, Peter. There are a lot of, even today, there are still quite a few tiny window managers that out of the gate are pretty much unusable in their current state. Xmonad is one, in my personal opinion. Xmonad is pretty much unusable out of the gate. Its key bindings they're not horrible, but they're not good either. DWM is one that I can pretty much use an unpatched DWM out of the gate. But still the key bindings there aren't great, and it uses Alt as its main modifier key, which to me that is like a sin inside of window managers. Like, to use the Alt key as your modifier, there are so many programs that use Alt. Screw your, like, if you think as any program that you like that's going to be managing Windows that you are holier than thou and can use the Alt key, no, you're not. The Alt key is used in so many other programs. Like, you stick to the Windows key, or if you want to do something crazy like Rat Poison where it's Control T as your modifier, like, sure, do something batshit crazy like that, but just stick to the Windows key. Like, that's meant for a modifier's key for the system. Like, it makes sense. But yeah, there are a lot of window managers that are still not quite usable out of the gate. Again, it's gotten a lot better, so there's almost none that are that are straight up not usable out of the gate. But that's sort of the thing. To answer that question, it's sort of like your mindset is wrong, because you're trying to compare a window manager to something like KDE where it's meant to be set up to be used out of the gate. A window manager is meant for you to configure at least some of it, typically. Rat Poison is one where like you have to do some configuration to it out of the gate. I mean, you don't have to, but it again, yeah, okay. I'm getting off topic here, but anyway, yeah, they're meant to be configured. So they're all for every single person, unless you're the one who developed it. You're pretty much going to have to do some configuring for it to be usable for you. Even though you could get stuff done in it, but it's still, whatever. On another question I might have asked, why not just use KDE or something with its own tiling functionality? That's a good question. And to answer that, we have to go back to what's the mindset of someone who uses a tiling window manager. The mindset is lightweight. Sort of like, even though it's efficiency is one of the things that comes with a tiling window manager, also it's the mindset of modularity, where everything in your system, like your desktop environment, every bit of it you've picked and it's only what you need. KDE, even though it might, have everything that you need, I guarantee you it comes with a whole bunch of shit that you don't need. Which, I mean, it's fine. A lot of people wouldn't consider KDE like bloated. Like, yes, it does come with a lot of shit in it, but I mean, most of it's pretty usable. I mean, the one that you could make the argument against is like KDE Connect, where it functions with your phone, but come on, like, there's still going to be quite a few people out there with an Android phone who use it. So they're like, everything in KDE has functionality, and it's not bloat like where Windows comes with Solitaire. What they come with, a Candy Crush now? Like, it comes with all this bullshit that no one wants. Like, bruh, if you buy a computer and you want Candy Crush on it, evaluate your priorities in life. If you buy a computer and you want to play desktop Candy Crush, I need you to evaluate your life because decisions for you are going all kinds of wrong. But no. Do not change anything. Rat poison has the best key bindings ever. Only added three for my needs. Well, exactly. But that's what I'm saying. You like I've only changed. Now I only have 2 extra key bindings, but you also do need to change the modifier. For most people, Control T is just unacceptable. That's like there are definitely going to be times when you like Control T Shift R. No, that's too much. Modifier key is definitely one that you need to change. But yes, rat poison is one where a lot of the key bindings make a ton of sense. You really don't need to change them. Herbstluft is something in between. It has manual frames, but inside those, windows are spawned based on some rules you set. Okay. That seemed interesting. I've never checked it out. I've never checked that Tile Window Manager out, or Window Manager out. Oh, I made a custom window managers. I made a custom window manager splits on drag, full, half, third, quarter based on distance of screen corners. Oh, as uses 120 megs of RAM. Dang, congrats, bro! And welcome to the stream, Red. Change that from the source code. Interesting. Yes, I'm a sinner because I've used Alt for years and I3 law. I choose my key bindings careful so that I don't have issues with it. No, see, you're not a sinner. Just the desktop environments that out of the gate default to Alt, to me, that's a sin. Like, I don't care if you use Alt as your modifier, if you like it. I mean, that's preference wise, like, go for it. I just think it's a sin to just default to Alt because, I mean, like, if you want to argue that a lot of programs don't use Alt as their main modifier for shortcuts out of the gate, we need to have a whole different topic because we need to break down a lot of programs that default to Alt. Yeah, again, you can change them and everything, but I think as a window manager, you should choose to using a modifier that's definitely not going to already be in use by other programs. And Windows key is the best choice there. If you want to do something a little bit more unique because that's your personal preference and you're the one developing it, do your own thing. Like that's fine. Like that's okay. I just Alt to me is like just don't use Alt. Like Alt and like the space key as a modifier. Like you know shit like that. Like just be smart about which modifier key you make a default. If you want to do something unique, go for it. Just don't use something that's main. Without Windows keys, something from 1992 or so. I mean, okay, so we need to have a real conversation here. If you are using a keyboard that is that old without a Windows key, update your keyboard. Now, I'm not saying you have to get a new keyboard, but what I'm saying is you should update your keyboard. If you are a geek who likes nerdy stuff, but you're using a keyboard that is so outdated that it doesn't have a Windows key, like I don't know, like I mean, even if you wanted to get something like the old style IBM keyboards, like they're still going to have like the modern day ones that are you know still coming out of that like factory or whatever that was making the, I can't remember what the keyboard's called, but it's one of IBM's old ones that like everybody loves. That one comes with a Windows key. If you don't have a Windows key, then like the argument that you're making is not relevant because most people have a keyboard that has a Windows key. Like almost everyone has a keyboard with a Windows key. And if you don't, that's fine. But like Alt is used by so many programs, it shouldn't be the default in window managers. I use both Alt and Win for different functions, and I'm careful with not getting an overlap. Yeah. I mean, again, you can use. Well, see, I use both, but normally in both in most window managers, when you use both, you're using both the Windows and Alt at the same time. If you're not if you use just the Alt for certain things, you're doing exactly what you're doing, where you have a few that you use, and they're definitely not used by other programs. Like you're not going to be using stuff like, I think Alt F2 would be a good example of something that if you use that in your window manager, but you use something like, I don't know about Blender, but Blender is a good example because it has so many keyboard shortcuts. There's a good chance that you're going to have overlap with Alt F2 inside of Blender. Sometimes I use the menu key. Yeah, the menu key is great too, because menu key is barely ever used. Menu is too far out of reach for me, so I use the regular stuff. I find some shortcuts just uncomfortable stretch for my thumb. So I use the Win key. Oh, if I use the Win key. I mean, I can't really back you up on that one. I mean, I'm not gonna argue with you because, again, personal preference, but they are right next to each other. So for me personally, I don't really run into that. But I mean, again, personal preference. And for all I know, your keyboard's massively different than mine. So, again, uh, let's see. I have a function key also at the side of my side of menu key. But why to update my keyboard when I'm happy with it and my i48? Again, dude, you ain't got to. I'm not saying you got to, but you probably should if you're gonna try and make that argument. Because I mean, you could get even these days, you could get a very, very nice mechanical. You could get brand name switches in your mechanical keyboard for under $100. You could pick up a really nice small form factor, like 67 keyless, whatever, like mechanical keyboard with Cherry MX Blue switches for like $68. And I don't care how much you like that older keyboard. Finding what type of mechanical switches you like, and then getting a keyboard that you really like, even doing a custom keyboard, is worth it, and better than a keyboard from 1992. Just saying. Probably will also last just as long as that keyboard from 1992, especially if you get a good one. 486 rules. Use Alt. Us Alt users are ganging up on you again. I didn't say that I don't use Alt. The only thing that I'm saying here is I feel like it is a sin for a window manager to default to using Alt out of the gate, because again, most people are going to use programs that have Alt already assigned to quite a few things. Again, I'm not saying like every user out there is like a Blender user, but we all know just how many programs are out there in the wild that have a massive amount of shortcuts in them. And what's the default modifier key in almost all of those programs? Alt. Let's just be honest. The problem is the connector for 486 was DNI. Yeah. Yes, but all the new keyboards are weird flat connector, which I do not have on my 486. I need that rounded one. Dude, they make adapters, bro. You can find it, and like, here, we'll go ahead and make this argument. An adapter's probably like $4. I think you're all good. I think you'll be fine. But see, here's the thing. You don't have to. Just don't make the argument that, like, I don't have a Windows key. Because the odds that most people are using a keyboard from 1992 nowadays, pretty freaking low. Pretty low. Now most people who use keyboards with a PS2 connector are just doing it to be like rebellious. But then you are using your alt the wrong way because it is three against you alone. I mean, look. I think I've discovered my new hobby, winding you up on your live streams. That's good. That's good. Uh, well, see, here's the thing. I mean, I do enjoy getting wound up because it does create some good content and some good enjoyable conversation. Because, like, let's be honest, like the best type of conversation to see is the conversation where they're not arguing, but they're just going back and forth about something. Um, like, and it's not like heated, but like, like they both have their opinions and are justifying. Like that's always interesting. And yeah, just personally, I think it's a sin to default to using the alt key. You just no, no. There's too much of a chance of overlap on keys. Yes, actually, I'm glad you mentioned it. Okay, the box is out there, but I got a mini ITX board for my Ryzen 3800X, and that thing came with PS2 connectors, and it was like, I mean, it was a nice mini ITX motherboard. I was I was pretty shocked too. Um, but I mean, that's sort of the thing. Like they're there, but if you're using a PS2 connector, like I feel like with how cheap good keyboards are nowadays, there's really not that big of a reason to just still be using something that old. Why? Just why? Just to spite me. Damn it. Like I'm gonna have a tiling window manager named after me, and it's gonna be a fork of i3 with like all of my most hated defaults. Like just everything is gonna be like all, and it's gonna be all like as somebody who does use Blender, like not quite a bit, but does use Blender, um, that would be like just the worst thing you could do to me. Just have i3, but all the default key bindings are like all like for one, you're using the alt modifier, but then all of the key bindings are stuff that are already definitely key bindings inside of Blender. God, that would just be the worst. And then name it like Tyler WM or Zany WM. Jesus. And just like the description of it, like the description would be like, this is this is just a spite, Zany. Um, I was expecting an IDE connector too. Yeah, that one I'm not surprised you're missing out on. Uh, Also, like nowadays, like dude, IDE connectors, like with how small so many connectors have gotten over time, with not talking about the USB 3 connector, because if you've built your own computer before, let's be honest, the i3 the USB 3 connector is that thing's a thick chungo. It is not fun. Um, but the IDE connector is just obscene. It's so big, and the cords for it just so wide. Like also USB keyboards usually don't have an in key rollout, and I need to use my key bindings. Uh, that's sort of true, Peter. Here's where I'm going to disagree with you. Cheap USB keyboards typically don't have in key rollout. If you're getting a nice keyboard, that can definitely be a feature in it, 100%. Um, but yes, on cheap keyboards, yeah, that's typically not a thing. Um, Control C to open a terminal, Control V to log out. Yeah, yeah, okay. No, I would definitely do a video on that, 100%. I would spotlight I would spotlight a window manager made for me, but made to spite me. I definitely show it off. Be like, yeah, if you want to go use this and like post pictures in my Discord of you using, oh my god, like what if my entire Discord like Unix porn was just like channel was just taken over of people showing off zany WM, a tiling window manager that like I didn't make and I also completely would never use, but it's just my window manager. God, there's a worthwhile project if you need one. Uh, and have it modal, so in normal mode, why he's like, Jesus, y'all are awesome. Y'all are awesomely horrible. uh, Peter, Peter, shit, that got me. I'm using an i4-86. Do you think I have money for a nice keyboard? Good point. Good point. Good point. Good point. Uh, uh, um, well, I mean, again, if you're using an i4-86, you probably don't need to update your keyboard. Probably want to focus on the computer first, but I mean, they're still fun to use and everything. Um, I wish I were a C programmer so I could write a special window manager just for you. Well, I mean, you could always fork something else. Like, I mean, it doesn't have to be i3. You could always fork whatever you're comfortable with. I mean, it could be a DWM, like riced out. Like you could, I mean, here's an idea. If you wanted to, here's an idea for my personal tiling window manager that I would absolutely hate because I really like DWM. If you patch DWM, like you could go back, watch a couple of my videos and see how I normally patch DWM, and then patch DWM to where I would like it, but then all of the key bindings and all of the default, like the way everything's set up is just a nightmare for me. Like you could use a horrible font as the default, that one that most people don't have installed. You know, just do a whole bunch of crazy configuring to make it just my like a DWM that I would really like, but just everything is configured in just the worst way possible. Well, for me, probably other people would really like it, but just for me, no. Um, that's a lot of work. Yeah, yeah. Uh, this is one of my favorite live streams. Good, good, good. Hopefully, for newcomers who want a guide to window managers, the first part is really informative, and the second part is just something to have loaded up and have entertaining while they try out window managers in VirtualBox. Who knows? Um, we've almost broken. Almost. As soon as I see my own window manager and it's like something I absolutely cannot recommend, that's when you'll break me. Like I'll probably be crying throughout the entire video, laughing like, oh my gosh, like I'll never use this. Uh, oh yeah, patch DWM with hard coded alt as a modifier. Ooh, ew. Eh, like you can't change it. You just can't change it. Like I mean you can because I mean it's DWM. You go through the source code, but like it's not in the default thing. Like you could hide it in there, like make it just really like really obscenely difficult to change anything. Um, oh Jesus, Peter, yellow on white background for a panel. Jesus, Peter. God, I swear, y'all are the worst. I mean, y'all have good ideas, but just horrible good ideas. Yellow on white for the panel. Jesus. Uh, it yes, like if you change the def.config, it does nothing. Maybe the banter is good for newbies. We're not all boring base dwelling flows without a sense of humor. A huge stigma of us. That's true. That's true. I mean, that is a big misconception about the Linux community that we're all like really hard to get along with. We're not really accepting of new users. We're not really friendly. Um, Huge misconception. Uh, ooh, yeah. God. Dude, if y'all make this a reality, I will. Yeah, I mean, I'll show it off, but I definitely won't use it. Definitely will. I will not be doing like a challenge where, ooh, actually, how about this? How about this? So Matt asked me. This is a great stream, by the way. So Matt asked me, I'm gonna have the option of choosing what our next challenge is gonna be, um, on for our podcast. By the way, if you don't know who I'm talking about, Matt from the Linux Cast, I do a podcast with him over on his channel. It's really fun. It's a great time. Matt's a super awesome guy. Definitely go check out. Just search the Linux Cast here on YouTube. You'll find his channel. He's fantastic. So I get to do our next challenge. So we record the podcast on Thursdays. I think they come out either the same day or the next day. So on our next episode, we've been doing a bash challenge. I can't tell you because one of the stipulations of the challenge is that we can't share what we're doing with each other. And I don't know that he's in this pod or live stream or if he'll watch it later. So I don't want to ruin it, but I've got a really cool game that I've made completely in bash, and that's going to be what I'm presenting for the bash challenge. But anyway, I get to choose our next challenge. If you guys make this window manager like Zany WM, that's a window manager that I absolutely hate, has like just the worst configuration ever. We will do like I'll make the challenge that we have to live a week in that window manager for the next challenge. Like a full week we have to live in Zany WM, and like if y'all make it where you really can't change config and stuff like that, like that'll be interesting. True, Red. Yeah, I definitely agree with you. Flexibility when it comes to Linux is it's amazing. Um, yeah, Turbo for Life. His channel's awesome. So is yours, by the way. Uh, I've been watching more and more of your videos lately. Again, I watch them doesn't mean I find them useful. To so many other people, they are definitely useful. For me, my needs in the terminal are so basic that I watch yours and I'm like, oh, maybe one day I'll need that. But I, what I do inside the terminal was so basic that for me, I'm like, oh, this stuff is really, really interesting. But I'm like, I don't ever really have that complex needs in the terminal. Um, but your videos in the terminal, I swear to God, there are so many people out there who are scared of the terminal who need to watch your videos because the terminal's not scary, and you do a damn fine job of just telling and showing people that the terminal's not scary. So, um, I can't wait for the Bash challenge. Me too. Me too. I'm really excited to see what Matt is making, and my game is so I'm not going to be doing too many spoilers here, but my game is more of to most people if you downloaded the game and played it. Let me just put it this way: there's a good chance that you might think it's malware. Um, how it works. I'm not going to get deeper into it than that, but it's a very interesting game, and it's made in as no, it's not made in complete bash. Is it? I can't remember. I know Matt asked us, or Matt asked if we could do to where we could do other things like grep, sed, and awk and stuff in there, because originally it was just pure bash, but I think mine's still pure bash. I can't remember. Um, I'm just waiting to make a video looking at each of your code and myself deciding a winner. Yeah, yeah. Matt keeps talking like his is gonna be really bad compared to mine, and that's making me like if we're gonna be completely honest with one another here, it's making me very, very nervous because I'm that type of person when if I'm doing very well, I will play it like I'm doing very poorly. And so I have a feeling that Matt's got something like really freaking cool and unique. And he's just being like, oh yeah, I have no idea what I'm doing, blah, blah, blah. So yeah. um, it should be hard. It should not be hard to make a script that will negate hex values in your config.h black to white. All right, Peter. Like, dude, if again, so I don't know if y'all use Discord. I know it's proprietary and blah blah blah. Discord's bad per se, but it's easy to use. I like it. Element and stuff still hasn't gotten to the level of simplicity that I feel comfortable telling people to go use it and stuff like that. But anyway, if you're not in my Discord, y'all can both pop in my Discord, and y'all could easily start getting together in one of the channels and working on it there if you wanted to. Just saying, because that would be I would be 100% down with doing that for a challenge, and that would be very interesting. And obviously, y'all could make a GitLab, and I'll talk about which one of you guys have contributed to making it and all that stuff. Um, oh, no problem, man. Your videos are great. Your videos are great. Uh, it's just it's just me and my terminal needs are so basic that a lot of the times I'm like, dang, like I know somebody needs this, but for me right now, like I don't need like I don't find the information a lot of the times like something that I'm going to be using in the near future. A lot of times it's just something like where a lot of your videos have made me realize that your channel is a very good resource when it comes to doing something in the terminal. Like if you don't know how to do something specifically, you could pretty much search your channel and find a good video that talks about what like explaining what you need to do. Next challenge ideas. Use TCSH as your main shell for a month. No, 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 no. I'm not going to do that to me or Matt. We're not changing shells. I like Bash. I stick with Bash. CSH, everything else, I just don't need it. I don't need it. I wouldn't benefit from using anyone. Um, anything other than Bash, just Bash works fine for me. I don't need anything else. Um, yeah, that would be too painful for me and Matt. Um, like I mean, using a window manager like like Zany WM that we've talked here would be it would be at the very least I could get a lot of laughs out of using it. Like even though I might hate it, I could laugh about it because for one, it's literally like got my branding on it, but it's a window manager that I absolutely hate. Like I mean, I could get some laughs out of it. Uh, any Electron app is open source. That technically there in that quotes is pretty important because not really, but sort of. It's, just depends on how you look at open source. Uh, that's a good idea and shouldn't be too difficult. Uh, do I have an IRC channel? I did. I have no idea. Oh well, no, I do know what happened to it. It was on the Freenode network. So no, I do not have one now. Um, uh, if you wanted to make an IRC channel um, on, like, let's say Libra.chat or something like that, and post the room name or whatever in chat real quick right here. Y'all can get working there. Whatever. I'll even join it and talk with y'all and keep up with what you're doing. Because again, I'm not going to make it, but I will highlight it, show it off, and we will make that the next challenge on the podcast. Uh, for sure, because I feel like if I help make it, then at that point it can't really be part of the challenge because it needs to be something that for both of us is like new. Like I'll keep up with you guys making it, but I won't participate in helping develop it. I won't try it out or anything until it's time for the challenge, and then me and Matt will have to use it for a week. um but it's still a shit shell, so yay. Yeah, I don't know. I've never really tried switching out my shells, so I wouldn't even know. Um, hmm. YouTube is saying it's screwed up. Okay. YouTube disconnected there for a second on chat, but whatever. I have no issues on my end. I have no idea what's going on, but anyway. Um, what operating system version are you using in 46? That's a good question. No idea. Um, hmm, uh, I guess the real question would be if you're going to be making this tiling window manager, is it going to be an automatic tiler or a manual tiler? Or have you guys already like, all right, so are you more hell bent on doing a fork of DWM and doing it that way? Okay, all right. A newbie question here. Great. How are you meant to handle windows which don't tile or float properly, i.e., dialogues? Oh, that's a great question. So on inside of tiling window managers, you do still have the option, and almost all of them, to just switch into a floating mode where you press your modifier key and then left click on the window to drag it around, right click to and move to like resize the window, make it bigger, and then again it's a floating window so you can move it around. You can do that with most things, but like dialogues, most of the time they're just going to pop up as a floating window in the center of your screen. That's about it. Nothing special. Most of the time that's how it'll happen. A good example of programs that or windows inside of programs that don't really do that is like Steam. Like when you open up Steam, a good example is like the Friends thing that pops out. That's normally it's like, if you're familiar with Steam, it's like it'll load up down in like the corner and it's pretty small and shit. That's just going to take up a lot of the times. It depends on your tiling window manager and how it will manage your windows, but sometimes it'll just be a floating window again, like I was saying before, or it'll just take up the half of the screen inside of your tiling window manager. Open up like a complete full window, and yes, it does look weird. And if you don't want it to do that, you can, almost all tiling window managers have in their configs rules that you can specify for certain windows. So a good way of doing this is to open up a terminal. So you open up a terminal and then you use something. I don't need the whiteboard for this, but you open up a terminal and you run a program called xprop. So you type out xprop, press enter, and then the program's going to keep running. And so you take your mouse and click on the window in question, and it's going to give you a whole bunch of information. You can take the class name or the name of the window, and you can put that in the rule set. And so the next time the rule, or you can set a rule so that that window will always open up in floating, or however you want to do it. Set a rule that way. Yeah. Let's see. Manual timer because you probably prefer automatic. Yep, that's right. That's right. That's right. Man, if y'all actually make this, I'm gonna be so impressed. And also a little upsetty spaghetti because I'm not gonna like living in a week in like literally a window manager that's built just to troll me. Zany WM. one one window at a time, no tiling. Single tasking is the new multitasking. Jesus. Oh my god. uh, hint hint, xprop and xwin info classes and stuff. Yep. I'm familiar with Steam. It's the source of power of my i46. Jesus. Oh my god. Because the WM sometimes can't know if a window or a pop-up GUI programmer's fault. Oh. So yeah, so that's how you make sure that, or that's how the weird programs that open up, if you if you don't like how they're opening up, or the windows inside of a program, you don't like how they're spawning, there's always a way that you can set a rule for them and specify how they're gonna react and how they're gonna tile, stuff like that. Let's see. I'm trying to think. Is there anything else about tiling window managers that we can explain for new users? I'm pretty sure this is at this point, I don't even know how long of a stream this has been. Hold on, let me switch over to OBS. Oh, yeah, it's been an hour and almost 45 minutes. It's an hour and 35 some minutes, something like that. Um, yes, it really would. Like, to be honest, now, okay, you do have to keep this in mind. It has to be at least like it can be something that is like we are absolutely going to hate, but it still does have to be like usable. So if you were going to do something where you couldn't tile, like you could only ever have one application open, like let's just say you're going to do it where like if you open up two applications, they're just going to be, it's essentially like a monocle layout where they're always just going to load over each other, and you have to close a program to get to another one, or move it to another workspace. You do have to include, like if you're going to do something like that, you're going to, for Matt to use it, you're going to have to include workspaces. So that way it's at least still usable for him, because we still have to use it for a week. So we can really hate it, but it still has to be at least usable. Yeah, only allow one window per workspace. Yeah. And again, so scrapped. I don't know about just one workspace to use, because again, that one, I think I think that'll be where Matt loads it up for a day, and it's like I can't use it, period, and instantly lose the challenge. Um, at least try and make it something where we can hate it, but we technically can still get work done in it. Um, because like I mean, if you think about it like this, if it's only one workspace and only one window at a time, like viewable, we couldn't even record the podcast. Like the way Matt needs to do stuff, like he couldn't even record it. um I mean, technically speaking, we could, but it would be insanely difficult, and most likely, like I don't know that we could. I don't know that we could. Not sure, because Matt has to have multiple things open at a time, um, switching between things. Um, um, so programs dialogues don't have a title or class set properly and aren't set as a dialogue. It's frustrating. Yes, and that's again, that's just bad programming. Like there's not really something that you can do about that, but um to be honest, it's developers, I keep saying it like that. Developers are getting better and better at fixing stuff like that. So stuff like that normally now is like their issues brought up on the repos, like on GitLab. Good Lord, I can't talk. GitLab or GitHub. Um, so yes, explain why rat poison is called rat poison. Well, because to be honest, I honestly don't know. As far as I know, rat poison is called rat poison because it gets rid of the rodents on your computer. So I'm here on their main page. So rat poison. Say goodbye to the rodent. What is rat poison? Rat poison is a simple window manager with no fat library dependencies, no fancy graphics, no window decorations, no rodent dependence. It is largely modified, it is largely modeled after the GNU, Jesus, I cannot talk. It is largely modified. Jesus Christ, I can't talk. It is largely modeled after GNU Screen, which has done wonders in the virtual terminal market. The screen can be split up into non-overlapping frames. All windows are kept maximized inside of their frames to take up full advantage of your precious screen real estate. All interaction with the window manager is done through keystrokes. Rat Poison has a prefix map to minimize the key clobbering that cripples Emacs and other quality pieces of software. which, by the way, I heavily disagree with Emacs being a quality piece of software. Now, that could be a whole nother topic because I know there are definitely people in here who love Emacs. Here's my thing about Emacs. The reason I do not consider it a piece of quality software is, to me, quality software is fundamentally easy to use. And Emacs is something that is easy to use as soon as you've done some modification to it. Emacs out of the gate, in my opinion, we can have a debate on this. I'd be more than happy to, but in my opinion, Emacs out of the gate is completely 100% unusable out of the gate. Its key combinations are atrocious out of the gate. And yeah, it's just my personal opinion on it. Also, Emacs, it just needs modification to just, for me, to be better. Vim is something where like you can use Vim pretty much right out of the gate, not having to modify anything. You probably want to modify some stuff, but you don't necessarily have to, because also Vim, just in case if you're unfamiliar with Vim, both of Emacs and Vim are text editors, but Emacs is not really a text editor. Like, even though it is essentially a text editor, it's actually an eLisp interpreter, which essentially Emacs can become any program. Like Emacs, you can make it your mail client. You can have it be a window manager. You can essentially have Emacs installed on your computer, and 6 months later have Emacs be literally the only program you use on your entire computer. You can essentially make your entire operating system just a bootloader into Emacs, which some people love and like it. For me, I mean, I just want a text editor, and Emacs is much more than a text editor, which again, for a lot of people really like it. For me, not really. I just want simple text editor. But to answer the question, I actually am not too sure exactly why it's called rat poison, other than it gets rid of all the small rodent dependencies and stuff like that on your computer. But I know there's like a post that you can see where it's the original like inspiration behind rat poison. Again, haven't gone super deep into it. It's just, I really like it. It's a fantastic little system, or little window manager. Let's see. I have no idea where I am. Yeah. Okay. I imagine some wonder if gaming with a tiling window manager would be a problem. It's not. Go ahead and answer that one. It's not a problem. You can definitely do it. The only thing is if you're running in windowed mode, you're going to be taking up the frame. So, if you've got like you got your master stack over here and like 3 windows down here, and you open up your game and it's in window mode, it's going to be taking up this one. If you're going to be playing like that, that might work for you, but yeah, just if you're going to be playing in windowed mode, you probably just want to have that be the only, your actual game be the only program open on that workspace or whatever. So it's taking up essentially almost all the full screen. But yeah, full screen games, all that stuff works fine. Maybe make the window management intentionally lag 3 to 5 seconds behind. Oh my god, y'all are the worst. That's so evil. That is so evil. I love it. So evil. Controversy alert. Yep. Emacs is the best, and that's not even a conversation starter. Take it as a fact. Hashtag unsubscribe. I mean, Emacs is definitely interesting. I just don't think it's the best text editor, because again, it's not really a text editor. So it's much more than that, which again, a lot of people love it for that, but calling it the best text editor, like if you just install Emacs and start using it as a text editor right out of the gate, probably not going to have a good time. Just saying. If you install Vim, use it out of the gate, you're probably going to be a little confused by the key bindings at first, but then all you got to do is just type Vim tutor, all one word, run through the, I don't know, tutor, and by the end of it, and again, that takes like even if you're slow, it takes like 35 minutes to go through the entire Vim tutor, and then by that you've learned what you need to know, and you know how to use Vim, and you're off to the races. and just for this Emacs hate speech, I'll make this an NEWM with gray on white. Well, see, I still think yellow on white was a little bit more atrocious. uh, and I agree with you about Emacs, honestly. Yeah, like, I mean, just saying, I don't hate Emacs. This is not a Emacs hate video or whatever. Like, I mean, I still think Emacs is good. It's just not the best text editor. It's a good piece of software. I calling it quality software out of the gate is not really true. Not because it's bad, but it, it's not really meant for you to use it out of the gate. Like, Vim calling it quality software is because it knows what it is, and it is that right out of the gate. Emacs knows what it is, but it tries to sell itself as a text editor when it's so much more than that. And that's the problem with a lot of people. A lot of people start using Emacs under the assumption that they are just using a text editor, and that's not what you're using at all. And also, Emacs, again, out of the gate, the keyboard shortcuts and everything for it are atrocious, and that's just end of debate. Like, they just are. All default apps are Emacs based. Zany, what was your first tiling window manager, and what did you struggle with? Oh, that's a good question. First tiling window manager I ever tried out was i3, and what did I struggle with? Well, at first was figuring out that a tiling window manager was different than a desktop environment. Even though I understood that they were different, there was stuff that, like, I assumed i3 would take care of for me, like wallpaper. I figured that would take care of it for me. Nope. I figured i3 would, a good example of something is like your mouse. If you don't set your X resources, your X cursor size and theme inside of your X resources file and have that loaded in your Xinit RC and everything, there's a good chance that when you go in between like different programs and your desktop and stuff, your mouse will get smaller and bigger and stuff. So it was like weird issues like that I had to learn how to overcome. And a lot of them were very basic, like search how to set, search like Arch is a great, even if you're not using Arch, go to the Arch wiki. They have it's a great source of documentation. Setting your X resources file, like just search X resources Arch, you'll find it. You can find setting that there so your cursor doesn't change. If you want to know how to set a wallpaper, Nitrogen is a great program to look into. You'll probably just, if you're using Start X and your Xinit RC, Nitrogen -- restore inside of there, take care of that. Again, those were the type of issues that I really ran into. Nothing really with i3, because again, i3's config file is pretty straightforward. It's pretty easy to understand what's going on in there. It was just a lot of the things that came with using a tiling window manager. And because when I switched over to using tiling window managers, I didn't, for a long time, notifications and stuff like that just didn't even cross my mind. I don't know why, but they just didn't, because I had left. I just got used to not having notifications. I used a tiling window manager without having something like Dunst for a long time. Now I have Dunst up and running, but for a long time I didn't. I guess Emacs is a text editor as much as systemd is an initialization system. Yeah, I sort of agree with that. Sort of. Like systemd, like the difference in systemd is out of the gate, it is a good init system. Like Emacs out of the gate, even though it is a text editor, is not a good text editor. Its key bindings are really, really, really lacking. But I mean, not lacking. They're nonsensical. They're not really good. I mean, we've all seen the memes of like broken hands, like, hey, this is an Emacs user. Like, they're not good. But yeah. Oh, hey, challenge idea. Use Vile as your main text editor for a month. It's a hybrid between Emacs and Vi. I've never heard of that. Um, I don't know about doing that for like a week, but I might check it out on my own time. I'll actually search it right now. That way I'll remember it. I'll, whoa, what happened here? Did I just? Oh, I just spawned a new window and okay. Okay, so I've got the page loaded up. I'll check it out later. Okay, so if you only want a text editor, um, but you like Emacs key bindings, you can use MG, no bloat, just text editor and direct. Peter, I got a genuine question. So you like the Emacs key bindings out of the gate? Genuinely? I mean, like I'm like seriously, I'm not going to be like, oh my god, like judge you for that, but just I genuinely don't know that there's that many people out there that genuinely like the key bindings of Emacs out of the gate. Um, mhm. Um, because systemd is technically not an init system, it's a series of great tools and functionality as well as an init system. That's true. That's true. Again, that's why the hate for systemd I find really funny, because like clearly you don't know what systemd is. Systemd is not an init system. That's part of systemd, but that's no systemd is just like, I mean, if you wanted to be really honest about it, systemd is sort of functioning under the same mindset as the GNU core utils. Like it's a like yeah, you might think of it as one thing, but it's a group of programs. That's what systemd is. Um, I don't know that systemd was misused. It's just systemd has been mismarketed for a long time, because people generally only consider it an init system, and that's not what it is. Um, yes, I'm using vanilla Emacs, no Doom or Spacemacs, and you've done no configuration to it. Like you're using straight up vanilla Emacs, and you like it. Like I'm sorry, like I just it's like genuinely, and you like it. Like really, I to me like I didn't like it. I don't like vanilla Emacs. Again, we're talking about our personal preference here, so it's not like us disagreeing matters. It's we can it's not like we can't talk to each other because we have different opinions on what text editor we like to use. Like that's also the dumbest thing to me too, because there are people out there who like I can't talk to you if you like Emacs, which is like that's the dumbest thing. It's like it's just the dumbest thing. Like I can't talk to people who don't like the same text editor as me. It's effing great. If that's like what you live by, if that's the rules that you live by, you need to reevaluate your life. Um, uh, if I ever used Emacs, I need evil mode. I mean, I've tried Doom Emacs and stuff like that. I can't get into it because I don't need it. Like there's nothing that Emacs offers that I need, and like why install Emacs and use Emacs with Vim key bindings and treat it like Vim? At that point, why not just use Vim? You know. Um, and again, that's sort of what I'm boiling it down to. Is like the reason I don't consider um, uh, Emacs a quality piece of software. It's not because it's not good software. It's just it's been mismarketed because again, most people and Emacs doesn't do a good job of describing itself as even though it does say that it is an eLisp interpreter and all of that good stuff. It's marketed more as a text editor, and even as a text editor, the key bindings that it uses are not intuitive and not they're not good for your hand. Like, they're just not ergonomic. They're not. I mean, it's not as bad as the memes. It's not like you're going to destroy your hand by using Emacs, but it's still not comfortable for most people. Another way I think of System D, and in a way you can maybe think of Emacs as like apt, which is a series of packaging tools for Debian and Ubuntu, like apt-get. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes. I only add my own new key bindings, but never changed any default one. Interesting. Okay. Respect. That's very interesting. You're one of the few people I take that back. I'm not trying to like single you out here, but you are the only person I've met that genuinely likes vanilla Emacs. Nothing else added on top of it. Or at least you're the first one to verbalize it to me. I'll put it that way. You need to put in the disinfectant in your eye every hour. Yep, let's see. How long do I've got? Oh my God, I did not set my last notification. So, probably need to go. Because I probably did that like, what, 30 minutes into the stream? So I probably need to go do it now. Dude, Red, thank you very much, man. You're on top of shit. I totally forgot to set my alarm. I wouldn't use Emacs like Vim. I'm aware of how it deals with major and minor modes, and it wouldn't be a gateway into me learning eLisp. And it's kind of nice. Yeah, like, I mean, it might be a gateway for you learning eLisp, but you also have to ask yourself, do you want to use Emacs as, do you want to replace a lot of your programs with Emacs? If you do, then yes, definitely. For me, I like the more Unix philosophy of just, using a small purpose-built program that does that one thing, takes care of it for you. So, yeah. So, all right, I got a question for you guys. So at 4 o'clock, so in essentially just over another hour, I'm going to have to go live, or not live, but I'm going to have to record the podcast that I do with Jeff from Low Spec Linux Laptop. Do you guys want to keep talking, or should I end the stream here? Because I can end the stream here and go put my drops in and chill, or I can go put my drops in and we can keep this fantastic conversation going. Either way you guys want. If you guys are about ready to go, we'll end the conversation here. But I can keep talking for a while. I don't see why not. This conversation is pretty interesting. I'm not an Emacs hater. I just prefer Vim. Same. I would disagree in Emacs being bloat, but for most people, I would agree with that. It just, as a general statement, I'd have to disagree, but for most people, yes, because most people think Emacs is just a text editor, or they're just going to use Emacs as a text editor. For that, yeah, it's bloat. You don't really need that. Put in your eye drops and keep going. All right, cool. Okay, so I know Matt just popped in here. Matt, it's great to see you, brother. But I have to go put in some drops in my eyes. So we're going to take a 3 to 4 minute break here. Again, I'm not going to go anywhere. I'm going to turn on some music and then I'll be right back. So yeah, get yourself a cup of coffee or something. I'll make me a cup of coffee while I'm putting my eye drops in, and we'll drink some caffeine and talk some more Linux and stuff. All right, I'll see you boys here in just a few. Let me see. All right, here is my music, and play that and mute my microphone. I'll see you guys in just a sec. All right, there's nothing quite like putting in some very painful eye drops. Um, all right, so let's see how far behind on chat I am. It seems like I'm pretty far behind. Um, uh, perfect. All right. Emacs could very well replace the programs I use for things like email, as ones I I do use are either non-existent, don't work like they should, or bloated with no real alternative. Oh, I just now noticed. I don't even have my hat on. I took it off. I mean, can't be live streaming without the game over hat, you know? Especially because I mean, I like now that I've been wearing it for like 4 hours, I definitely have like hat head. All right, so um, just being usual, or just being usual, just being lazy. So the usual. Yeah, yeah. I mean, pretty much the same over here. Just trying to recover from eye shit, and putting in some stinging eye drops every hour just really keeps life interesting. Um, Again, while I was gone, I hope all of you got some fantastic coffee to go with this stream, because we've definitely explained tiling window managers, and all of this is just now an interesting conversation. So, has anyone told Matt about what's been going on with Zany WM? Oh, thank you, Terminal for Life. Just saw that. So I set my timer. No, I did not. Let me go ahead. Hold on, I got a missed call from some number. I have no idea who. Let me go ahead and set my timer for the next hour. Okay, cool. Thank you very much. I needed that reminder. Okay, so um, ooh, perfect. Okay. See, this is what I was talking about earlier, Matt. I was telling everybody, I was like, okay, I Matt keeps saying that he's like not that confident with what he's gonna do and all of this stuff. And it's making me really nervous because like if I'm doing really well, the whole strategy that I have is to like essentially talk like I'm doing really bad. And so even though you keep saying this, convinces me more and more every time that you say this that like you have this fantastic like bomb idea. It's super cool and nifty. And it's just gonna blow mine right out of the water. So I'm starting to get nervous. Um, um, yeah, Vim is really flexible. Like I've started using it instead of um, like graphical IDs like VS Codium and stuff like that. Um, mm, but so I don't think anyone has told Matt what's going on with the window manager that we've been having a conversation about. So we got into this conversation about how I think it's a cardinal sin for a window manager to use Alt as the default modifier. I think it's a sin for them to do it. It's not okay to set your default modifier key to Alt because there's so many programs out there, and I use Blender as a good example because it has tons of key bindings that are going to use Alt as their modifier. So you're going to have the chances of you having overlap with your key bindings is really high with something like, um, you know, well, any window manager that defaults to using Alt. I think it's a sin to do that. So we got into a conversation about that, and then we I can't remember. I think it may have been Terminal for Life. I can't remember exactly who came up with the idea. Hell, it might have been Peter. I'm not sure, but someone came up with the idea that they should make a tiling window manager with all of the defaults being Alt, and then like all of the key bindings definitely being stuff that are like in Blender and programs that I use. Um, and so, yeah, essentially, there might be here before too long a zany WM that is like a, a complete like fork of something like DWM or something like that, where you you can't change the key bindings and their key like it's using the Alt key and then like a whole bunch of key bindings that are definitely like used by other programs. So you're like the odds of you having key overlap are like really freaking high, and the default like panel color, like foreground and like color is like white or yeah, white on yellow, and like it ignores like when you go into the config file and change the colors, it ignores it. And the challenge being that we have to use this again. So this is going to be a window manager with my name on it, Zany WM, but it's everything that I hate. And we're going to use it for a week. That being the next challenge. If this happens, I think that would be interesting. Really difficult challenge. Uh, Neither cool nor nifty. See again, putting me on edge, man. Bash script idea. It will check if you have Emacs installed, and if not, it will download and install. No, no. And that script only works on like it checks to make sure that you're running Gentoo. Peter, it can convert your system to Gentoo. Just why it just RMRFs everything in your home drive and then just unpacks a tarball in your root folder. I mean, yeah. This window manager sounds like a nightmare. Yeah, yeah. No way you make it a week. Well, see, here's the thing. What I was thinking is if they make it and everything, like I won't check it out or anything. Like me and you both don't check it out until it's time for the challenge, and then we both have to we have to make it a full week using it. But I did put one of the stipulations in there. They can do a whole bunch of screwy things and make it super annoying and like god awful to use, but it still has to remain usable for both of us. So like things like workspaces still have to be there because like I'm like that's one thing that you need to be able to call it usable. So like we might hate it, but it still has to be usable. Uh, uh, we also talked about having only one workspace. Yes, we talked about that, but we decided that couldn't happen because you would literally not even make it a full hour with using it. We all know you, Matt. If it's just one workspace, like hell, even not just having 9 workspaces only for all of your work, like all of your monitors and stuff, is like unusable. You can't do it. Oh, you mean for the challenge for episode 100? No. Uh, yeah, that's sort of what I'm thinking. That's sort of what I'm thinking. Wait, what do you like workspaces or something? I mean, I think he does. I, I'm, I almost think he likes workspaces. It's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, I actually workspaces is one thing I didn't really dive into in the beginning of the first video. I mean, I explained window managers, but I never really got into workspaces. I mean, do we really need to explain workspaces? Um, Take your monitor and essentially treat it like the whole screen. You had multiple monitors, but just on one. That's what a workspace is. So essentially take your monitor and then have like however many workspaces you have. That essentially means you got that many screens. Use key bindings to switch between your screens and yeah, okay, super easy. There we go. We explained workspaces. I wouldn't I wouldn't install it if it only had one workspace. Why not just make this a Windows challenge and kill me now? That again, that's what I was saying. So like it can be absolutely atrocious to use, have horrible key bindings, make it a pain in the ass to change anything if it even allows you to change a lot of stuff like the horrible panel color and stuff like that might not even be able to change it, like hard code in the DWM key binding, like where you can't change it. Like your key binding for D menu is hard coded in, and on top of that, it's also set up to keep the same coloring, white on yellow, as the panel. Like again, it can be as atrocious as they want to make it, but it still has to be something that we could both use and make it through a week using. Again, the whole point of this challenge is to make it to where it's really hard to stick with it, but to make it fair, it has to at least have a chance of being usable for the entire week. Again, not saying either one of us are going to like it, but tags in DWM are absolutely dope. Yes, yes. So DWM should have the exact opposite. I mean, what would be the exact opposite of tags though? Like, I don't know. Like, what is the exact opposite of tags? Yeah, thinking about it, Matt would just use SXKD. Yeah, I'm never making it a week. Oh, dude, I think you can definitely do it. I think you can definitely do it. Like, I believe in you. I believe. I'm trying to think like what would be even more interesting um, than a week in the window manager. Um, maybe like the challenge being that like for the entire like instead of having to use it for an entire week, like we have to use it for the day before and recording the live like the actual podcast where we're showing it off and everything. We have to use it for the day before and that day, and then when we're doing the challenge, like we have to do like a review of it, and we have to try and make it a positive review, like like essentially treat it like we've been like it's a sponsored video, like where you have to say good things about the window manager. Like the whole review might be like 2 seconds, be like, it works. Ooh, ooh, yeah. Just detect if it starts and then kill it. That's great. Uh-huh. Oh well, I mean, see, here's another thing. Like the again, I'm giving horrible ideas to these guys, but like it could essentially like detect if you're running like a key mapper and then just like quit the the entire like the entire window manager just quits like if it detects that you're using it. Oh, no, that would be actually this one. This one is for nicotine. This one is a Delta 8. And, well, it is some good stuff. It's not like the illegal stuff that, like, doesn't get you where you can't function. It more of just, like, relaxes your muscles, and it does sort of help with pain, but I've been chiefing on that thing quite a bit, trying to help with this eye pain, and nah, don't work for that. Uh, oh, oh, but Matt, I don't know if you've seen it, but did you see the video where I talked about what's been going on with my eye? Um, um, I mean, that'd be awesome. You guys would squirm. Maybe the challenge would be to come up with a video which convinces us more than the other how how much you loved it. Oh, dude, that would be good. That would be good. So the challenge is not necessarily using it for a week, but we have to use it for at least a full day. And then after that, we both have to try to give a more compelling argument for why it's a fantastic window manager. That would be good. That'd be good. Oh yeah. Anti-cheat. Another bad idea is if any key is remapped with an external tool, randomize the full layout. No, see, I think it would probably be easier to develop where it just kills it, and I also think that would be like just even more funny, like to somebody who hasn't seen this live stream and just decides to try it out, and then like, oh my god, these key bindings are atrocious. They figure out that they can't change them, and so they're like, well, screw it. For whatever reason, they decide they're going to stick with it for like any amount of time. They just load up like XSKD, whatever, and try getting around it, and it just the entire window manager just shits itself. That would be amazing. I think that'd be so good. Yeah, I'm in drugs. Yeah. This one not so much, but not so much of the good stuff. But I do have that one here. It's again where I live. It's not legal for the regular stuff, but this is legal and it's everywhere, and it's the same thing essentially. Just it's a little less potent, but again, I'm not like a hardcore drug addict or anything. It's not like I need like the best and hardcore stuff. I'm just somebody who like doesn't really like pain that much, and also just I used to recreationally smoke, so you know, occasionally I like to get that. Let's see. You're on a roll. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. To be honest. Uh, uh, oh my God, he's got another bad idea. Look out. Those are probably my favorite videos ever. Yeah. Uh, well, it is. Thank you, man. And it is getting better. It's just slowly getting better. Um, I would think with my ophthalmologist described these the two eye drops I'm having to put in every hour as specially formulated and very high potency. And I would think with that description, putting them in my eye every hour after the first 5 or 6 hours, maybe even 12, I'd see some different, or it'd be a lot better. But no, I'm almost over 24 hours in, almost, and yeah, it's getting better, but very slowly. Using the same code, randomize every hour. Oh Christ! Well, see, the problem with that is at that point it does become unusable. If the key bindings are randomized every hour, then you also do have to you would have to build in the functionality for something to like a key binding that doesn't get changed, like alt question mark or something like that. That always brings up the new key bindings so that you can see the key bindings, even though they're randomized, they're there. I mean, that way it's still, again, usable for the 24 hours or however long we go in using it. Um, um, but it's annoying as hell. Because that's really the point of this, is not to make it unusable, but to make it atrocious. Um, we'll call this new WM matte poison. Yes, yes. Anti-matte. I like that. I think matte poison's better because it does get rid of all the mats using it. Oh, yeah, like it just has like monad tall, the spiral one, the Fibonacci sequence. Like it's got a whole bunch of different ones that are still tiling layouts, but they're just random tiling layouts, and each workspace just gets randomly assigned one. Every time you either quit out of it, or it gets restarted. Every time it just gets a random layout on each workspace. God, that'd be so bad. He is so evil, so evil. His ideas, and it seems like he's a little too good at creating some horrible ideas for us to have to deal with. That is true, Peter. You do have a good point. You do have a good point. Hopefully, by the time y'all make this, I won't need the eye drops anymore. That'd be great. Um, Not gonna lie, I'm actually quite tempted to make this horror a reality. Again, I think you should. I think you should. That would be a very interesting challenge and make a very interesting couple of videos or video or whatever we decide to do for the challenge. I think that'd be great. It'd be very interesting. That'd be a really interesting collab. Uh, I have wait, hold on. I have my recreational smoke attached to my PC power supply. I can even smoke vodka. Wait, hold on. I can even smoke vodka, but you can't drink because we'll increase your eye pressure. Yeah, yeah. Well, no one told me that I couldn't drink, but it's probably not a good idea for me to drink. Um, I don't know about smoking vodka. That's probably not a good idea. I shouldn't do that. Just saying. Every time you spawn a window, it appears on a different monitor. Again, Matt, I'm still trying to make the argument that it should be atrocious, not unusable. Or Peter, again, it has to be usable. So again, it supports all of its monitors, but again, like it's like every monitor is forced into a 16:9 like aspect ratio, but like the lowest possible one. Like so, hold on, let's see, 16:9. Oh shit. Okay, nope. 16:9 aspect ratio. Let's Google search. Let's find resolutions. No, I want resolutions. Oh my god! I just tried to do a Q browser keyboard shortcut inside of Firefox. 19:9. What the hell? What is going on, Google? I used Google for the first time as my default in a while, and now it's screwing up on me. Okay, 16:9 aspect ratio resolutions. Let's see. Okay, 16:9. Here we go. Common resolutions. So the lowest common 16:9 resolution is 256 by 144. So I'm going to put that in chat for anybody who's going to be developing this thing. Again, you want to make every single monitor default to where it will only output by 256 by 144. Let me make sure I'm getting that right? 256 by 144. That's the max resolution. Well, yes, but I mean, again, we're trying to make it usable here. And usable is a loose term. Oh shit. Loads of monitors. With black bars in random places. You need to figure out how to change the resolution every time you use a key binding. If you could figure out change the resolution every time you use a key binding. Ooh, that would be dirty. That would be dirty. Just how I like my women, atrocious but not unusable. It's so bad. That is so bad. Yeah, red. I mean, technically true. Sure. Still wouldn't recommend vaping vodka. Okay, so then as many monitors as you can get, but content mirrored on all of them. Ooh, that might be dirty too. All right, hold on. I've got to go blow my nose real quick. All right. I'm going to be absent for this challenge. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're going to be there. You're going to be there. NES resolution, yep. Well, see, here's the thing. Modern monitors might not support that resolution, but could you not scale it down to that resolution? Like, I feel like you could. Or you might have to choose something, like scaling it down to like 720p or something like that, or like, a slightly lower one. But getting dogs are barking like crazy. Ideal for 144p video content creation. Hell yeah. I mean, my webcam will not look better, but I won't notice that it doesn't look great. That's fantastic. You guys will, but I won't know. I'm sure they don't. I think the minimal will be 640 by 480 or 800 by 600. Yeah, I mean, we could go 800 by 600. Why not? You know, let's keep it high res. Why not? Ooh, every once in a while, change the GTK and QT themes. I don't know that you could do that from. Ooh, about to sneeze. Okay, maybe not. Oh, still think I'm about to sneeze, but don't know. Okay, chat's disconnected. Don't know why, but just so you know, I won't be seeing any new chats coming in for a second. Um, okay, so according to OBS, I still don't have any problems on my end. The only GTK theme you can use is the way to like it. Fuckly GNOME nonsense. I mean, I sort of agree with you there. I don't really like the look of a Dwayda. I mean, again, Terminal for Life likes it. Again, a lot of people like a Dwayda. I don't really like a Dwayda. Gesundheit in advance. Thank you, man. It didn't happen, unfortunately. But it'll just be another 8 hours of me waiting for it to happen again. But so, okay, I have been standing for quite a while. So I'm just going to drop my desk down. So that noise you hear, that's my desk falling, and I'm just going to sit down for a second. I'll scoot back here, sat down. Okay, and I didn't even think about it, but I could also drop down the stand like that. And now you can probably see me a little bit better. I have no idea. But yeah. So I just got to take a seat for a while because I've been standing for a little bit too much. Well, I mean, at this point, I've been standing for like 2 hours. Do not squeeze on your camera. It's still in HD, and 144 it would be bearable. Yeah. The only wait, hold on. The only browser you can use is Nix. Only any other browser just gets killed. All right. Good lord. All right, I'm out. I'll see y'all later. All right, see you, Matt. Have a good one. It's weird. It's weird seeing you sit down now. Yeah, I know. It's weird to be sitting down. Also, I mean, the stand for my webcam could still come down quite a bit, and I could scoot up a little bit more. But yeah. See you, man. See you. Have a good one. And yeah, here before too long, in about 45 minutes, I'm going to be chatting with Jeff, and we're going to be recording the well, podcast that we do, the Linux Land podcast. And that should be interesting. Should be fun. But all right, I mean, to be honest, I think this has been interesting live stream. Yeah, we've had great conversation, great time, and yeah. If you guys do end up working on, say, EWM, let me know. I'll definitely be keeping an eye out for it. Yeah, and we'll definitely do a video on it. Again, if any of you all want to let me know that you're working on it, whatever, I got the Discord. You can reach out by email. Again, I don't really check my email as much, so Discord is really the best place to get in contact with me. But yeah, that's a good question. The Linux Cast, or Linux Cast, good lord, the Linux Land podcast is always about just whatever's been going on with us here recently, what we're interested about in Linux, that that particular week. And it's always a very rambly sort of or not, I keep wanting to say live stream. It's a very rambly type podcast. Just talk about whatever we feel like it. So I'll probably be talking more about what's been going on with my eye. We'll talk about Linux. I'll share some more about rat poison. Yeah. All right, hold on. If we're going to keep live streaming for any amount of time, I'm going to drop down this webcam so that it's closer. Okay, let me drop it down like that. Okay, keep it right there. Okay. I was about to end the podcast there, but really, the only reason I was about to end it was because, well, it was like an awkward camera setup and everything. And I don't know that we really have. Is there anything else that you guys definitely want to talk about? Because again, this is just divulged into a conversation, which I'm 100% for. They don't take effect from D menu if you start a login manager. I have no idea what you mean by that. Oh, snap. Okay. Well, if someone's here and you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button. Yeah, this channel has been growing quite a bit, and I've met more and more fantastic people here recently. I've tried not to be too hype about it, but so DistroTube is really who got me interested in Linux and doing Linux content. He's the one who really inspired me to make this channel what it is. And I also liked how he was just very much open and just himself in videos. Same with Hex DSL. I really like his videos where it's just him, just being himself and talking about his opinions. But anyway, DistroTube subscribed to the channel not too long ago, and he's left a comment on one of my videos. I think in the past he had actually seen my channel, maybe commented or something, but the fact that he subscribed like that did mean a lot to me. I was like, oh, okay, this channel's actually like people actually like it. Can you link Jeff's channel? If you go on to any, well, I hold on, let me see if I can quickly link to it or put it in chat. Give me 1 second. Pop down here. But if you watch any of the Linux Land podcast episodes, his channel link is in the description as well as his Twitter handle. But it's a long link, but I'm going to post it here. There you go. That's his channel URL, so you can check him out. He's a super interesting guy. He's building an Earth ship out in the desert. If you don't know what an Earth ship is, you can look up. It's a super interesting topic, but he's a super interesting guy. And his whole channel is about him playing retro style games on lower end hardware or just a lower end Linux laptop, like his channel says. His channel's called Low Spec Linux Laptop. Like I liked his videos so much, and I really wanted to see him. Like he was very interesting. His live streams, he's very personable in them. He's a really cool guy. But I actually sent him a laptop. I sent him the Lenovo Yoga 6 so that he could do, he could play more games. But sadly, when I sent it to him, it didn't get there until he had pretty much finished building his new desktop PC. But the advantage of the laptop that I sent him is that he can play more graphically advanced games, because keep in mind, this guy was playing on a Pentium before I sent him this laptop. So, oh, okay. Change the background color between light and dark, inverse to the app theme. I'm working on a precise signal decomposition using wavelet. The libs are useless and probably finish implementing my own. that was way over my head. I have no idea what you just said there, Red, but hopefully, you know, it works itself out. And it works good. That was just way over my head. Hopefully you're doing. Hopefully it's working out good. DistroTube is too political. I sort of agree on that. I mean, but then again, it's his own channel. If he wants to be political on there at all, he can. I mean, I have my own political beliefs, but I'm not really gonna make videos about them because also when it comes to my political beliefs, they don't matter because I don't care about politics. So anything that I believe, again, doesn't matter because even I don't care about it. Oh, it's Jeff. I stumbled across his channel yesterday. I think it was. I'm not uh, the the content is my kind of thing, but I'm looking forward to the podcast. No, no. Oh, I'm not sure the content is my kind of thing. Yeah, I got you. Like it's more like retro gaming and stuff. So yeah, I mean, I know it's not like Linux related. He does have, you know, some videos where or live streams and videos where he talks about, you know, Linux, like some misconceptions in Linux, stuff like that. They're pretty good. But, you know, I had a Pentium when I was 12 or something. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, but his was, I mean, his, like, I can't remember what Pentium it was, but I mean, it's an old Pentium, old Pentium. I was surprised that he was even able to stream on it. And yeah, yeah, I'll repeat that. He was streaming and playing games on a Pentium. Wow. No problem, Red. Uh, oh, actually, so my first computer was a Acer Aspire One netbook. It had like a 7 or 8 inch screen. It was a Chungus. I mean, it wasn't like as fat as some people say they are. Like, I mean, it was like that thick. I mean, it was a thick boy, um, tiny little brick. Uh, like, and it had enough heft to it where you could definitely beat a person to death with it. Like, I mean, it was heavy, and I mean, I really liked it, but it had an Intel Atom in it, and we all know how blazingly fast those processors are. As far as I know, it's a single core Atom that it had in it. It was either no. I think it was a dual core. I think it was a dual core. I'm not sure. It was either single core or dual core. I know it had 1 gig of RAM in it, and it also had 1 gig of RAM, and then like I want to say like a 60 gig hard drive, something like that. I still have the thing up at my grandparents' house. I've upgraded it with an SSD and 2 gigs of RAM. Whoop whoop. Um, I don't use it for anything because I don't know what the hell I'm going to use it for. It's so slow. But, um, Jesus, Craft, come on now. You're gonna have to stop coming up with all these horribly amazing ideas. Uh, I had a Pentium 2 with ooh, 32 megabytes of RAM. That's what's up. Yeah, I really like netbooks. Like to be honest, I really liked my net. As much as people hated on them, I really liked it. It was hyper portable for the era that it came out in. It was very portable for a kid because I got it for school. So for using it in school, it was really helpful because I mean, like pulling it out anywhere that I was at was not a problem. Like it was so small. It's not like I had a 17-inch laptop with me that looked obscene. So, whoo, yeah, I did that with my first generation Raspberry Pi. Played around with it, overclocking it, and then I overclocked it pretty high, and then I just did some stress testing on it at a very high overclock, and then forgot about the fact that I was stress testing it, and I mean it pretty much fried itself. Ooh. Like from the so with the amount of RAM that you're talking about, you were definitely one of those, Peter. You were definitely one of those people who lived through the era where like Bill Gates was what was it? I can't remember what ridiculously low number of RAM it was that he thought people would ever need. I I can't. I know it was under 8 gigs. It was something like that. Like it was under 8 gigs, and he was like people will never need more RAM than that. Yep. hmm Um, See, I'm not really disappointed I missed those days because I'm really happy to live in the era that I am in and grew up in. Where I mean, computers for me have always been just exceptionally fast. Like they've always just been really good. Um, I mean, like let's be honest. Nowadays, almost every computer that you're gonna buy at Best Buy, unless as long as you're spending more than $300, you're walking away with a computer that, for most people, has more power than they need in it. Like most people just need a browser, and that's why Chromebooks, I think, sadly, do as well as they do. Oh yeah, my eye. It's not like all these lights. Every 24 hours, the window manager is running, have a 50% chance just to crash for no reason. See again, that teeters on the unusable part. I would just say have it crash when you try and get by stuff. Like you try and reconfigure some key bindings or get around it, crash. You try and change, like, even though the colors and stuff are hard coded in, you try and change them, crash. Um, Lol, just every 24 hours. Damn, Scrapped, you're the worst. It should also have a minor memory leak to fill up your RAM slowly. Oh god. Yeah. Acorn developer, the ARM. I don't even know what Acorn is. Um, if it doesn't exist itself, the kernel will do it for us. Lord. Uh, no, it doesn't. Wait, hold on. No, it wasn't much later. 2004. I just wanted my own computer. Had no money, so this is all was able to compile together. I used NetBSD with a black box on it and compile most stuff. Yeah, I mean, so this is again super off topic. When it comes to the BSDs, my favorite BSD is OpenBSD. I absolutely love OpenBSD. Interesting. Well, uh, we have been streaming for quite a while, and I have got about another 30 minutes until I am supposed to do the stream. I keep saying that. Record the podcast with Jeff. Oh my god, my eye. It's not like me right now. Boy. The real main thing about my eye right now is my eye has pretty much stopped hurting completely, but my eyelids themselves like are so like tender. I guess it's from like antibiotics I'm putting in my eye. They're they're probably like abrasive or something. Uh, oh yes. Oh, I do. I do. I'm just going to have to just gonna have to kick on some light in here and uh really in all honesty, the only reason I'm getting to the point now where I don't really have much to talk about is I mean we've covered a lot. I don't know what else we're gonna talk about. I mean, for one, this whole thing was supposed to be just the definitive guide to window managers, and now it's turned into the first hour explains window managers, and now it's just a conversation, which again, super interesting. And it's not like this is not been interesting. I don't know what else we're going to talk about because I don't know. Yeah, I have no idea. Also, I might just say screw it and load up and do a another like live stream with a different title, different thumbnail, and just do the Linux Land podcast live. Might just do that too. That way y'all can pop back in. You can see us recording it live, and I mean I won't be reading chat or anything. It'll be just like we normally do it, just a conversation between us. Yeah. I'm still really I'm waiting. So all right. Are you guys going to work together, or can one of you just let me know if you're going to start developing this window manager? I would be super interested to know if anyone's like, you know what, I've got extra time. Let me just make a horrible window manager. Yeah, scrapped. I think that's the best way of going about it. Like if you change it, it doesn't immediately crash or just not work anymore. Like if you change the config or whatever, like recompile or whatever, like restart, it's still going to function right, but it's already set a timer for that it's going to crash. I'd have enjoyed more window manager stuff to BH, but it was fun to derail you. Yeah, well, I mean, we honestly did at the beginning. We covered pretty much everything when it comes to window managers. I didn't want to dive into showing you like again. I'm using rat poison here, so it's not like diving in and showing you how rat poison works is relevant to most people. Again, when it comes to window managers, if you're unfamiliar with what you want, like you need to find out what your criteria is, and then move like figure like watch videos and stuff on the window managers that meet your criteria. Um, I'm concerned about your eye that has misdiagnosed that. Hold on. I'm concerned about your eye that it has been misdiagnosed and it is a fungus or bacteria with which they would have to do a culture to determine the strain. If so, determine the appropriate treatment. They've already taken while I was at the ER, they took a culture. They numbed my eye and then put a cotton swab in there, which was epic. Because even though I couldn't feel it, having a cotton swab go over your eyeball is fun. But yes, they took a culture, and I'm taking antibiotics, so they know it's a bacteria. Because the first lady said it was bacterial keratitis. Now she was not an ophthalmologist or anything; she was at the urgent care. But she took one look at it, that's bacterial keratitis. You need to go to the ER, get that looked at immediately. And got down there, and the guy took a look at it, and he said it was some type of ulcer in my eye. Now he was an actual ophthalmologist. The treatment for it is pretty much the same as bacterial keratitis. Both of them, they give you antibacterial eye drops. But I have to go back in. I'm going to meet my ophthalmologist Wednesday. So today's Tuesday, so tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, or tomorrow at 1 o'clock, I'm going to see my ophthalmologist. And as long as it's getting better, he's going to switch it up, and I'm going to get a different antibacterial or antibiotic eye drop. So what is the definite answer on the question? What is the best window manager for someone who does not know what to expect, except a ZDWM, of course. Best tiling window manager for someone who doesn't know what to expect is probably going to be Awesome WM. i3, I think, is the best tiling window manager for a new user. However, if you're going to be that person who is not going to do any research on a window manager, not do any preemptive setup or anything, you're just going to drop into it after loading it up, probably Awesome WM is going to be the one that's not going to cause you any issues whatsoever. i3 is, again, another great one, but I think firstly it would become to Awesome WM. And that's only to answer the question of what's the best window manager for someone who does not know what to expect. And to answer that one, I have to assume that if you don't know what to expect, you're not doing any research beforehand. You just want someone to give you one, and then you're going to drop into it. It's probably AwesomeWM, because you're not going to have problems getting a terminal open or anything like that inside of it. i3 is pretty much the same, but again, AwesomeWM or i3, probably my two top ones for that. I wouldn't really be able to code, but I can help make it just barely usable. Oh, I know that for sure. I know that for sure. Show us rat poison. I would love to know it more, and you are the only person I know using it. Okay. All right. All right. No problem. Okay. I'll show it off. Let me get all right, I'll get CMOS open. This, go over here and switch my layouts here. Okay, so this is rat poison, and so you can see by the screen there is no panel at the top up here. There's no window decorations around windows. There's none of that. You don't get none of that bullshit with rat poison. Rat poison is, excuse me, strictly a tiling window manager. That's it. And the way it works is by far very different than other window managers. So, actually, you want to know what? Since if we're gonna revigorate this stream with explaining rat poison and showing you rat poison, here's what I need to do. Let me explain what's going on here. I was going to get up and do some stuff, but anyway, no, let's not do that. Okay, so the way it works is on most other tiling window managers, I'll switch between my windows here. So you see that current frame here, that's the one that's the frame that I'm selecting. Or for those of you who use tiling window managers, you're used to each of these being considered a window. Like these are just windows, but I can actually go over here, select this frame, and I can do mod enter, and that will cycle through the windows that I have open on here. So each frame is essentially every window, but just you can cycle through. So each of them are essentially, well, they're frames, but I like to call them screens. It's a better example of them. It's just, each window is always open, and it's going to take up the maximum amount of screen real estate at a time. So if I go over here, select the browser, if I do mod S, that's going to cut it in half, and you're going to see instantly another program is going to load up, because essentially what happens is if I do mod shift R here, that's going to close that, and go over here, mod shift R. I did not close those windows. I closed the frames. All of those programs are still open. I can cycle through here, and you see I still have them here. Cycle one more time. Oh, CMOS was open here. I forgot that is what I had open here. Never mind. Okay, or never mind. I was just confused for a second. Anyway, so you have all your windows open and stuff. No panel. So one of the things you might be wondering is, well, like, what if I just want to get the time or date or whatever? There's a key binding for that. You just press mod A, and it shows you the date and time in the top corner. So one thing you also might be wondering is, well, like, how difficult is the config file for rat poison? Well, here's my rat poison RC. This is my entire config file. It's super easy. The only thing I do is reset the modifier key to my the Windows key, and then set the font to the font that I want. Foreground color, because again, let's say I load this up. Here, you got your foreground color and the background color, defined as FG color and BG color. Super simple. The message weight down here is how long that message, like when I load this up, it's set to 6, so this is going to stick around for 6 seconds. This command right here, well, the one that I have commented out here, this is to enable like where the focus will follow your mouse. You can have that enabled if you want. This one right here sets it to where your cursor is not an X. because rat poison doesn't set the cursor or anything for you. A lot of the times it'll just default to X on most programs, and to me I found that annoying. So set the correct cursor here, and then the only two key bindings that I've set in here is mod shift enter for starting D menu or opening up D menu, and I use D menu to open up all my programs, and then I have a key binding here for taking a screenshot. So super P will take a screenshot. That's it. That's all I have set up in my rat poison config file, because that's all I need. And yeah, rat poison's super simple. There's no workspaces out of the gate. Hold on, shift S, and I'll go over here and switch back over here to my main webcam. Okay, so yeah, there's no workspaces out of the gate, but you can get them set up super simple. The common misconception is that there are no workspaces in rat poison. Yes, you can get workspaces in rat poison. It's just the way it functions, you really don't necessarily need workspaces, because you have access to all the programs that you have open at all time. Let's see. Yeah, I'm down for seeing some rat poison stuff too. Okay, so no gaps. How possible of criminal could say? Yes, yes. As far as I know, you can get gaps set up in rat poison as well, but I don't know how you go about that. Jesus Christ, we need a 50 to 70 pixel gap between windows. No, no. But you know there are people out there that do that. That's how they default. Like that's how they enjoy using their system. So you can split your frames vertically or horizontally. Are you using some kind of sensible escape key, like for example left Windows key? I don't know what you mean by a sensible escape key, but yes, I am using the left Windows key as my modifier. And yeah, you can split them horizontally or vertically. Here's another thing. Hold on, let me switch over here and switch back to my scene view, and I'll show you. So mod shift S cuts it horizontally. Oh, let me go over here and get you out of there. Going to go back over here. Mod shift and just S will cut it horizontally. I cannot talk. Horizontally. Shift R, get rid of that. And what else was I going to show? Can't remember what I was going to show. Oh yeah, and then mod shift and then the question mark will load up here all the key bindings that you have set up, and I mean it'll show you all the default ones, and then also down here at the bottom it's got the two key bindings that I've added. And then you press just any key to get out of there, and it'll take care of it for you. Or get rid of that, and let's cycle through here and back to my main camera. Perfect. Now, because I do not want, oh wait, hold on. I am caught up. Okay, because I don't want to use something, I don't know, random shot, Control T. Yeah, I hate Control T being a modifier. That's like Control T Shift R. No, like no. Yeah, it is a very simple config. Very simple. Zany WM should require you to hold 4 to 5 modifier keys to open daemon or Rofi. I love it. I love it. Yeah, the cheat sheet is really nice. The cheat sheet is essentially to me like so necessary for something like this that is very minimal and simple. And also I mean, if you think about it, that to me, that is the pinnacle of quality software, where the key binding for something like finding key bindings, explaining them, is not just simple, but also extremely straightforward. Like whatever your modifier key is, and then question mark, that's genius. That really is genius. That's a great default key binding. Rofi needs an extra modifier because I prefer dmenu. I prefer dmenu too. That is really simple. I could easily create a config like that easily. Yeah, I mean, I whipped that config up in no time. The majority of the config was done in under a minute. The rest was just finding different stuff that did, like setting the cursor, like finding how you did that, and then just pasting it in there. Which I will say one thing: a majority of what's in my config was just copied from on Rat Poison. They have an example config, and most of what I did there, like setting the foreground color, message weight, background color, all that stuff is in that config. I'm really happy that someone told you about rat poison. That's someone being you, I'm pretty sure, Peter. But now that you can show it to us, I was not able to find any good videos about it online. Me as well, and that's why I really like that live stream that I did on rat poison. It's an in-depth explanation of rat poison, aimed towards somebody who's not super familiar with window managers in general. I do a good job of explaining it. God, good lord, my eye is not wanting to play nice right now. I've got 45 seconds till I need to go put in another eye drop, so that would be why. Check your timer. I think it's time very soon. Man, dude, you are on top of it. You are on top of it. We've got 33 seconds left. But yeah. Oh shit. I've got to do the podcast with Jeff here in 10 minutes. So what we're going to do is we're going to end this stream here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to I'm going to whip up a thumbnail real fast, and we're going to, well, I'm going to live stream us doing the podcast, and you guys can watch it live, and then it'll go up later. There it is. Time for me to go put in eye drops. All right. This NEWM should set the crash flag after you start a compositor. Oh, good God. Oh my God. Oh my God. That would be awful. Awful. At that point, I don't even know I could use it. But yeah. All right. So I will see you guys here in like 9 minutes. Peace.